Welcome to episode number 39 of
What's
the Uncle
up?
Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. How are you, Cousin Donnie?
Good, man. How are you feeling on this fine Tuesday night?
Yeah, man. I mean, I have, it is Happy Haircut Day once
Correct.
again on Tuesday. So,
You look wonderful.
oh yeah, you know even the barber said, "Man, your hair is like absolutely phenomenal." So,
Does he know you're doing a show tonight? That's why.
Yeah, and let's just say she got a little extra tip for saying that. You know what I mean? So,
Be careful. That could be taken in the wrong way. Nope. None of that. None of it. Little extra correct.
All right.
Better. So what's up, man? How was the week and everything?
You know what? I really have a busy weekend actually with St. Patty's Day. A lot of things going on this weekend. We had the kids out there getting a ton of candy, getting stuff going on that end. So it's been a fun-filled week per se for the Moretti household.
There you go.
How is the Rollins household going?
Busy this weekend with St. Patrick's Day and everything, and working a couple days, and you know what I mean, Jim. We don't all have nice, easy jobs like you. Why do your kids go? They get candy on St. Patrick's Day? Were you doing the parade?
Yeah, we went to the parade on Archer. So up and down Archer they go, and it's they were throwing out candy left and right. So
there you go. Did you pick some up yourself?
I did not, but I'm not going to say I did steal some out of the bag.
We want to thank everybody for jumping on this week. We have a very special guest, and Mr. Mike North is going to be joining us. That's fantastic. Before we get into all that, we want to thank everybody for jumping on and watching, especially the Beacon Tap for the sponsorship for the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show. Rich Rizzo says I'm having a bad hair day. Rich, I'll mess with this hair all night. Don't you worry. It'll look good. It'll look good one way or another, my man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's just a special shout out to the Beacon Tap. I know they were packed all weekend long, from what I heard, which is an awesome thing, right, for St. Patty's Day weekend.
Yep.
Mr. Tommy Reamer also purchased, I believe, 9 squares in our pool, and he is going to be thrilled when I tell him and Mickey Balestri that we are not going to pull the numbers tonight. We are actually going to pull the numbers tomorrow night. Both Cousin Donnie and Uncle Jimmy here, we actually have a game tomorrow night, which is game 4 of our series.
Yep.
We tried to do a poll, but unfortunately you couldn't figure it out this week, but that's okay.
I tried so hard. I tried like 3 different times.
Yeah.
And Facebook just doesn't allow polls anymore. I looked it up. I tried to do something special, and I really let everybody down. So
okay. Well, hey, that's okay. So, this week alone, I think is going to be a special week because not only is Hex going to tie the series up tomorrow night, right? But as you said a little earlier, Mr. Mike North. Mike North has been a Chicago per se celebrity on the Score Radio. Has been a part of the Chicago sports media for 30 years. I believe he won four times. I think he won an award for almost like best announcer per se or best radio talk host, which is awesome. I think he won 2 Emmys. He was in a movie. So he's got a pretty cool resume when you actually look at a lot of things he did. I know he was in the heyday of the Bulls, of their championship run. So I'm going to have some questions for him. I know it's a little bit outside of softball, but I have some questions for him about that. And then I'm most thrilled to talk about, the TV league and a lot of things that he was a part of then, he, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, as someone kind of with a media background, I'm excited to kind of talk to him and pick his brain a little bit about what we can kind of do to grow our channel kind of selfishly, but also grow the game and grow the viewers in terms of our live streams and things like that. But yeah, it's really cool to kind of have someone that, has a nice following and has kind of built himself up in the media industry, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm just pumped to hear a lot about the stories, how that TV league in Forest Park was kind of built. I know he was one of the main guys behind it with Rich Melman in regards to him and Steve Cashel announcing a lot of the games on, like I said, it was Sports Vision back then, which is basically like our Comcast Sports today per se. With, I don't know what, if you have DirecTV, I know it's channel 665 per se, but all in all, I think it's an awesome thing, right? I think it's a pretty cool thing to have someone that's done it and kind of going through what we're going through to kind of build our name and get up there in the softball world per se. So we know that we're reaching a lot of heads, not just in Chicago. I'm fielding calls from outside of Chicago now more than ever. San Diego, Yuma, Iowa. So Kansas City, our girl in Kansas City, she's booming with 12-inch, so that's awesome, right? So this is a great thing, right? And we want to continue to enhance and grow the game and get it back to where we feel it could be. And I thought I saw something today, Donnie, that I wanted to touch your brain on. I saw the A National run by Mr. Ray Zarnick. He had a lot of cool ideas in there. A lot of things that we normally talk about, huh?
He did. I was gonna actually bring it up. I have the post. He took maybe a little bit of things from Jimmy Moretti on this one. He says calling all A and B teams. Everyone has a problem with softball. We listened. He put in the post. The SSA eggs no glove A Nationals. A heck of a lot of prize money. Championship Saturday night. Payouts from 1st to 7th place, concert Friday and Saturday night, face painting and donkey rides for the kids and smaller adults. Bags tournament, food, large coolers provided to every team upon arrival, which is awesome. Enormous parking lot. Please reserve your spot ASAP and be a part of the tournament trying to make a change. How cool is that? And then I even wanted to mention all the comments right away were teams that want to be in. It was like the first 20 comments were Demons is in, Sauce is in. Like there were so many teams right away that were like, we want in on this. This sounds great. So it's got some traction, which is really cool, and that's awesome to see.
It's funny how that works, huh? So
correct.
Before we get to Mr. Mike North, because I'm excited. I know you're excited. I want to get to the fans. I want to get to our stream. I want to, say hello to Anthony Stacy, Rich Rizzo, Brian Sherwin, Anthony again, Sam Rogers, Rich Wagner, Tyler Spears, welcome. Christopher Jordan, welcome. Benito Rojas, welcome. Mr. Big Mick is out there. Welcome. Pat Moran, welcome. Little Marty Jr. is out there. Welcome. PJ Range, Joe Caputo, Alex Rahafi, Alex Martinez. We have Enrique Munez, Josh Moran, our boy David, Mr. Butterfield. What's up, Mr. Butterfield? How are you, sir? Mr. Dave Bradford has joined the chat. And my nephew, Pete. So welcome, Pete. Billy Smith. So we've got a lot of people jumping on. I think it was kind of an exciting night. Hopefully throughout our conversation tonight with Mike North, people get on there, ask questions. I've got some somewhat funny things I want to ask them. Some just rumors that were kind of Chicago rumors from over the years. And, hey, I'm not afraid to ask them, so I'm going to ask them.
I know. If there's one thing you're not afraid to do, is talk to somebody, Jimmy. We've done that. So this is your opportunity to use that to your best advantage.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Mr. Jackson Perry, welcome to the show, sir. So I think hopefully Mike North has figured out the technology. Yeah. And are you ready to bring him on?
Go ahead, Jim.
Let's see what's that out there. There he is. What's going on, Mike? Can you hear us?
Can't hear you.
Oh, he can't hear us. All right.
It's an unfortunate start.
Can't hear you. Can you guys hear me? Because I've been trying to. The host unmuted your mic.
Okay.
My mics are good here.
Yeah,
we can hear you as clear as day, Mike.
Because you guys were talking. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can't hear you guys.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries, Mike. Why don't you hop completely out of the feed and then come back in, and we'll see if we can hear you.
Yeah.
Click out of the.
Kill some time, boys.
Kill some time, boys.
Yeah. We got it, buddy. Hop back out and come back in.
Fill the dead air.
Well, he's got to log off the link, obviously.
Yeah, he can't hear you say that. You know what you can do, Jim? You can remove him from the guest list on the bottom.
There we go. I will go ahead and text him to hop back in.
We can hear him fine, so his mics are good. It might just be the connection between us and him, but we'll get that figured out for sure. We definitely want to make sure we get him on and we can hear both parties. We've got some really good questions lined up for Mike North. Big Lane is in the chat. What's going on, Lane Senior? Dave Butterfield, Pete's in the house. Watch your language. Peter Corral, looking forward to tonight's show. What's up, cousin Peter? Good to see you as always.
So Donnie, as Mike figures the chat out and figures the line out.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk a little bit about just softball as a whole, because we had our first tournament in Arizona. We all talked about that last with March. The next major event is going to be the Matty Dozen tournament out in the South Side.
April 27th, I want to say.
27th, yep. So
that's the guaranteed rate.
I believe a majority of those teams are a lot of the major teams are getting in, so which is an awesome thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That'll be kind of the first big event of the year, and then I think it rolls into the first or second week of May. Obviously, we have the Westchester tournament, third week of May, but the Cinco de Mayo I saw out there today too that was posted.
Yeah. I did see that. I don't know. I think that's a lot of the B teams, if I'm not mistaken, B and A guys kind of playing in that.
Yeah.
What do you know the kind of limitations to those rosters? Can anybody play in that, or is that?
I don't think so. I think it's strictly an A or B tournament in regards to that. It's only A or B teams. I believe they go by SSA roster though.
Yeah.
So that would be an awesome event for a lot of the softball people out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another cool event. I believe that's single elimination too.
I think so. I think it's 2 days. I think it's Friday and Saturday.
Right. So,
and that's our guy, Coach Arenas, who was on our show and talked about how proud he was of his tournament. So great to see Coach Arenas kind of, filling up his tournaments, and the A and B tournaments that he runs are always spectacular. So
right. Well, I see Mike's wife actually on the screen. So let's go back over to them and see if they figured it out. Right? This ought to be fun. Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear us there?
I'm sorry, honey.
It's okay.
I don't know what to tell you. I tried what I knew.
Hey, Mike, can you hear us? Mike.
Somebody better call me.
Mike, can you hear us? I guess he cannot hear us. Let me give him a quick dial.
Somebody better call me, he said. Jimmy, that would be you.
Yeah. I'm calling him right now.
Live.
Yeah, I can hear you as clear as day, and Donnie and I can hear each other. So why don't you try to log on through your phone? Click on that little app I sent you on. Okay.
Apologies about the technical difficulties, everybody. Jimmy's trying to sort it out as he usually does on our show.
Yeah. All right. I can see you as clear as day.
To get on the iPad.
There you go. He's going to try to get on the iPad. So.
All right. So we'll kill.
Very good.
People are excited though. We got a lot of live people watching right now. We definitely want to thank everybody for jumping on the stream. You guys, the reason we do this every week. So Mike's going to try to jump on the iPad. Jimmy, thanks for trying to help out and put out the fire there.
Yeah.
We heard from Mike's wife. She tried everything she knew how to do.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead, Donnie, and take care of this really quick. I'm gonna hop off. I'll be right back. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna leave me by myself?
I'm gonna leave you by yourself, my man.
Right.
1 second. I want to get Mike taken care of so I can get it all situated here.
I've got a question for everybody.
Go right ahead. Throw it in the chat.
You got it. Hello, everyone. It's me, Cousin Donnie, by myself. Jimmy's trying to sort out our technical difficulties at the moment, so be patient. In the meantime, I've got a question for everybody in the chat. The NCAA tournament is starting this week, and I know you guys are a lot of gamblers, degenerates, addicts, whatever you'd like to consider yourself. Good people out there. I want to know if anyone has an upset in the NCAA tournament that they're betting on, they are thinking about. I need one upset from the NCAA tournament. Anybody can put it in the chat. I know I've got a good one. It's not a super upset, but it's an 11 seed over the 6. I've got NC State beating Texas Tech on Thursday. NC State, good team playing, in that conference, and I would like to see NC State win that game. That would look great on the stream. We got Auburn to beat UConn in the Sweet 16 for Mr. Kevin Johnson. Kevin, we appreciate you very much for chiming in. Auburn in the first round plays Yale. So do you think they'll get through Yale pretty easily? Auburn, the 4 seed, they play Friday during the day. And then you've got them to beat UConn in the Sweet 16. So that's the number 1 seed going down pretty quick. I saw one of the ESPN analysts had all 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. That's never going to happen, right? I don't think that's not possible in today's basketball game. Whoever plays Purdue, Joey DeCosta says that. We've got a play-in game. I think there was a game tonight, too. I think somebody won by 3 points. We got Iowa State wins it. Heck yeah, look at these comments. You guys are saving my butt right now. You know that? Joey DeCosta, whoever plays Purdue is going to win. Iowa State wins it. Marty, you think Iowa State wins the whole thing? Iowa State, I know they've been playing some good ball, too. I believe they're a 2 seed, correct? They're playing good ball. I know that. We've got Tim Dalton, Duquesne, 11 over BYU. Okay, BYU did just lose in their conference tournament. Okay, that would be nice to see. Look at Purdue. Joey, Peter Corral says Purdue's going to win it all. So Joey DeCosta moments ago says that they're going to lose in the first round. Look at this. This is great. Illinois. Joe Austin says Illinois. Love that. AU Final Four. Okay, we've got some comments. I need some upsets. Give me like is Long Beach State going to beat Arizona? I saw a very good bet. If you are into that, not me, maybe you can bet all the underdogs. If you bet all the underdogs and only 4 of them win, you can make your money back. You can bet $10 per or whatever it is, whatever your unit size is. Throw it on a couple of underdogs. Hello, Jim. Never mind. There he is. We've got NC State over Texas. James Madison. That's an upset. I love that. From Mick Balestri. Tennessee sleeper to win the whole tournament. John Canetta, Tennessee. Nick Tricoshi says Grand Canyon wins game 1. Jimmy, I don't even need you anymore, dude. I've got this.
My man. I appreciate it. You're just
we got
people just blowing up the chat. I love it.
No, I'm telling you. Grand Canyon, that's a good one. Nick says Grand Canyon wins game 1 over St. Mary's, California. We've got 13 seed Vermont will upset overrated 4 seed Duke. It's a tough one. I know Duke historically not very good in the tournament for the last couple of years. But this team looks a little bit better, but young. That Jared McCain is a young guard, shoots the ball well. They need him to score some points if they want to win. Vermont beats Duke. Look, that's 2 people in a row, Jim, that think Vermont will beat 4 seed Duke. I might have to put that in my terrific 3. I already have got one that I put out there for my terrific 3. But people are speaking. We've got one guy, Joey DeCosta, said whoever plays Purdue will win in the first round, so a 1 seed going down. And then Cousin Peter said Purdue's going to win the whole thing.
Well,
Morton College Cinderella story.
That's awesome. So I do see Mike in the chat. I don't know if he probably can't hear him. I know he's just sitting there right there. There he is.
Hello, Mike.
Can you hear us? He cannot hear us. So it's awesome. It's like a free sneak in on Mr. Mike North. So
It's like if you want to watch what he's doing in his living room, you can right now with the Uncle Jimmy Show.
Yep, I did for sure. So I sent him the link on Twitter.
Okay.
So hopefully he's able to figure that out. I also sent him the link on his personal cell. He said he's got a flip phone, but still.
I did see that. Yeah.
That's
He
awesome.
did, yeah, a flip phone because he was on it when you were calling him, and
he was able to log on yesterday, which was awesome. He's swearing and yelling right now. That's awesome. Let's see what he's got going on. Mike, you figure it out, my man.
Nothing here.
Nothing. He's
On my iPad. Send it.
He can hear you.
Send it to North.
On the iPad.
On the iPad.
Through Twitter.
I got you, my
Through
man.
Twitter.
He's getting all mad. I love it.
he wants to be on the
This is
show.
awesome.
He wants to be on the show.
I know. This is awesome. It's incredible. I'm gonna send it again. I emailed him on Twitter. I don't know how else to do it.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Even though he hasn't been on, he's been
incredible.
Entertaining already.
I just sent him another message on Twitter. It says Mike North. So, I mean, I'm Mike to Mike North on his page. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I don't know what else to do. So,
Dude, this isn't going as we'd imagined, but it's still very entertaining.
he got my other messages that we sent on there. I sent 2 links, so it says sent. So maybe he's trying to figure it out now. When he logs in, he's showing us on the screen right now. Let's go live back to Mike North.
Go shoot back to Mike.
Direct message? No.
Nope. He's I sent it to him. I don't know what else to when I click on it, it's there. I mean, I could say maybe you know what I'll do? I guess I don't want to put our link out there, but
No, yeah, we don't want to do that. Tim Dalton says we may have time to go over the women's bracket. I actually know. You know what? South Carolina for the women. I know that's the heavy favorite, but their team's damn good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lane said, "Keep him on. It's great." Jimmy, go back to him. Let's see how he's doing.
All right, let's see what he's doing.
Let's kick back to the Mike North cam.
Mike, you figuring it out, Mike? No? I sent it to you, Mike. Maybe he can log on through his wife's phone. I don't know. You can't figure it out, Mike. That's all right, buddy. Love you.
Oh, he left. He's giving up. No.
Did he give up? No, he's still there. So I'm gonna try again. I mean, I guess I can post it to him. I don't want to do that.
No.
But I mean,
I don't mean to laugh at him. I'm laughing at the situation.
at this point, I'll just
you know what? He can put the show on like speaker on his laptop, and he can hear us through watching the show.
Well, I literally just posted it to his page. The link to get on. So we're gonna have like a gazillion people.
Are we gonna have a random guest on our show? This is. Oh, I think he's yelling at you, Jim.
All right, that's fine. Let's see.
Go back to him. Back to him.
This is awesome.
Hold on.
Mike, I just posted it to you, buddy. Again, send it to you twice if you can hear me.
He can't.
He cannot hear us.
Oh, wait, go back to Mike.
Well, he is not in the room right now. Let's see. Mike, can you hear us? He is not on mute either.
No, he's not. His mic is all the way up. So is ours.
Yeah, I mean, how awesome would it be if we can hear him clear as day? He can't hear us, so obviously it's he might have his speakers off on his computer. Because we can hear him as clear as day.
I got under my name here.
Oh, here we go.
I was just gonna say, I see they just sent it.
Yeah, I got under my name.
Okay.
I'm putting it on one name, right?
There you go.
Mike.
Get it done, Mike. Attaboy.
Hold on a second now. We got some life here. We got some life.
There he is. Let's see what's room. I think we have a new one here. Mike, can you hear us? Mike. Mr. North, can you hear us, sir?
Mike, you've got this, man.
He cannot hear us. So I'm going to tell him. One of the reasons why.
Jimmy.
It's awesome, huh?
It sucks.
You never can know what happens on live TV. Isn't that
It sucks. Unfortunately, I'll tell you, I'm disappointed because I really look forward to talking to him, and I still do. I can't stop. This is good entertainment, and he's not even on the show. Imagine if he was even talking.
Dude, he's incredible.
Are you nice?
Yeah, I'm trying to
fill the air.
Yeah.
With eating guys.
I'm trying to get him on. He's texting me. I'm texting him back.
No, I understand. I know you're trying. Why don't you call him and put him on speakerphone on your other phone?
This will be awesome.
But there might be an
Actually, hold on. Mike, can you hear us?
Yes.
New phone alert.
Mike, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
My man.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Mike North,
Yeah.
I can hear you clearly.
We can hear you great.
Hey, I got some advice for you guys. Instead of shooting a 32-year-old pro questions that any 5-year-old could answer, why don't you make sure we get on the air first? All right?
Hey,
I did 2 other podcasts today, so I know it's not on our end.
You declined me when I asked you to hop on yesterday. You told me you had this under control, my man.
My man,
Obviously,
let me tell you
have it
something.
under control.
Let me tell you something. I've done over 500 podcasts. This is the first time we ever had an issue, but I'm not casting any aspersions. We never use it. What do you guys got? What's the name of your service, by the way?
So we use a system called Restream.
Yeah. How about First Stream? I got a new name for it. First Stream. How are you, fellas? Now we're back. Now we're ready to go.
Let's go, dude.
For this.
Mike,
I can see myself here. I can see myself there. It's amazing. Now there's too much of me. How are you?
I'm going to put you in the middle, though, Mike, so that way everyone can see you.
And how's everybody in softball land?
You know what? Everyone's doing pretty good. Everyone's doing pretty good, believe it or not.
I wasn't eating up time for 15 minutes. Huh? While you were trying to get me on.
I'll tell you what, Mike, you'd be very impressed with the filler we had going on.
I'm glad we got on. My wife Phoebe did a great job. It's really great to talk to you. I've been looking to talk to both you guys for since we started talking, and it's great we got it worked out. But it was a little bit on the we're almost out of the deal site, so I'm glad we saved it.
Yes, we did. We saved it. That's all that matters. So
that's all that matters.
We are very happy you're here. We got
you.
a ton of questions for you as well as softball, the softball world. But before we even get into that, Mike, why don't you kind of, for some of the people that maybe have slept under a rock the last 30 years, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as we stare at your ceiling?
Well, I'm sorry. I got to.
we were looking right up your nose, Mike.
I know. I got to clip them. Anyway, what was, I grew up in Chicago, and I've lived my whole life in Chicago. I just moved recently out to Huntley. Well, not recently, about 5 years ago. In fact, we have a 10-team softball league out here. I'm I don't work every day like I used to, but I do my bare bones podcast. I do ESPN 1000 with Carmen DeFalco every Friday, and then on Saturday. It's doing very well. Been 32 years in the business. Been married for 47 years to my wife, Bibi. We have a dog named Lotto. I still love the city. I still go into the city. And it's been a good ride. I mean, I've had nothing but good luck. I mean, it didn't start out that way, but when you just keep chugging along, and eventually, I sort of won the lotto, to be honest with you, the lottery, because I got to work in my hometown. I've never had to leave my hometown. Any out of town stuff or stuff I do with you, I do from my home.
Right.
So I'm very fortunate, guys, and I'm very blessed, and just happy to do stuff like this, and to still be relevant, as far as being on the air, being at a major station for 32 years. I started late. I didn't start till I was 39 because I had 3 hot dog stands. I worked for the city, of Chicago. I worked for the Park District. I tossed garbage. I did everything. So I'm just a blue collar guy. I still have that attitude.
Yep.
That's why I identify with guys like you guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that was one thing I was going to mention. You mentioned hot dog stand, and then
Right.
I know that's how you started your career. You came up with an idea. You went to the radio station, and
Right.
they bought it. So obviously, that's a tremendous telling who you are. And that's part of one of my first questions for you is that you were part of the Forest Park TV League.
Yes.
When Rick Melman started it. You and Steve Cashel were the announcers in that league. I was a young boy still at that time.
Sure.
Donnie wasn't even born yet. So that being said, tell us a little bit about how that started, because I felt like at that time, softball was at its ultimate peak in the major level. So tell us a little bit about how that started.
Okay, well, softball, as you know, since the 20s, but the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, softball was still major in town, big time. Yep. And I played in numerous parks, and I played 4 nights a week, and played with some terrific people. And then the 80s, kept going. But then in the 90s, when I got my job at the Score, and I knew I had a voice. And really, guys, when I tell you sports is my whole life, or was my whole life, it is. And when I tell you that softball was a huge part of my life, and it is. When I was a kid, when I was 13, 14, I couldn't do anything right? I could play sports. And I think what happened was when I was 15 years old, I was playing a game of softball in the evening at Sen Park, and there was 2 gentlemen came by, and they were watching us play. And we're 15, 16-year-old kids. Today, now, somebody would probably call the cops on these guys, but they watched us for about an hour. And then they approached us, and they asked me and these 2 brothers, Eddie Ruiz and I believe John Ruiz, if I'd like to play in a men's league at Pierce Playground, which was the Firemen's League on Bryn Mawr and Ashland back in the day. Played in front of 200-300 people, 3 nights a week. And I was still going to Sen High School, and I was playing second base in a men's league. I mean, guys 6'1", hitting the ball, and we won the championship of that league. So that was my first taste, and it was something that I thought I could build on. Sports is something that everybody can build on.
Sure.
But the thing I like about 16-inch, during the day, we all worked our jobs. We all had our issues. But at night, we were the stars of our whatever parks we were playing at.
Yeah.
And we had crowds watching us. And if you played hard enough and you practiced enough, you could even get into bigger leagues. And the TV started in the 90s with Melman. And Rich Melman and I are good friends. And Joe Zimbaroff and George Bliss. And I knew all those guys. And we started out by getting softball in the high schools. I did. I wanted to get softball in the schools. And we did that. But then Rich Melman wanted to take it to another level. So we got, we were on I believe it was it's Comcast now, or it was Comcast, Sports Channel, whatever. Jerry Reinsdorf station, huge vision, just huge for us. What people didn't know is that me and Steve did 4 games a night because it was $10,000 to rent the truck, the cameras, and everything for one night. So we had a schedule, and you had teams like the 45s, you had Licorice, you had all sorts of teams that were tremendous, and it was as good and viewed. And I talked to Jerry Reinsdorf. It was his station. He watched the games. He told me personally. And Cashel and I hit it off. And by the 3rd or 4th game, I was already half inebriated because we were drinking beers and having fun. But I mean, we did 28 innings of softball with the best players in the game.
Yep.
And that's where I met Dave Novak, who I just recently found out passed away. Dave and I were very tight.
Yeah.
He was the best groundskeeper of any field ever.
Mhm.
I've been on major league fields that weren't as nice as Forest Parks. But Melman kicked it off, and we took the TV to another level, and we made guys like Angelo Alicia, Keith Filkins, Bobby Russ. We made guys like that household names on Sunday evenings in Chicago. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I love the fact, because I was old enough at that time to watch on TV. I was in my high school days, but either way, I think it's an awesome thing, and it's something that obviously we'd love to get started again, right? I know obviously today's day and age, the money, the dollar's a little more than what it was probably back then when it was 10,000. But I do watch, and I see wiffle ball, and I see bags, and I see cornhole, all these different badminton. I just watched the new pickleball game on TV. So I mean, there's got to be ways to put this great game back on TV.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
I want to get your opinion on that. What would be the first step for Cousin Donnie and Uncle Jimmy here to get softball back on TV?
Well, I think the thing that happened too is when I did the high school sports, the softball in the high schools, and Paul Vallis and I and J.W. Smith, we did he was in charge of the board of ed. I walked into Pershing Road and I said, listen, kids can't all play hardball, and 16 inches dying. So what I'd like to do is start a 16-inch softball league, and it ended up with 53 teams. And all you need is bases. And what happened there was, from there, that's where everybody got to know each other. And then Melman did the TV. What it would do is you need a tremendous sponsor, but you'd have to probably, and I never even thought of it myself because we already did it.
Yep.
But you're right. That channel there, they put rock skipping on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They put like bounce a ball on your head. For who can do so? You're right.
Professional tag.
Why is there no time for 16-inch softball on that channel? Like,
there is, probably nobody's pitched it, but you know what? That's something to think about, because I think the thing we got to concentrate still is in Chicago too, though, the grassroots level. And but you're right, that opens up the game, because I mean, I remember teams coming to Forest Park and playing for the World Championships. And, I sent the licorice team, one of the great teams of all time, if I can say, to my boys, hello, I love y'all. Iowa came, St. Louis teams came. I didn't like when they did the mitts, but I knew why they had to do the mitts. I think probably if you were going to sell the game now around the country, you would. Okay. I mean, I still got fingers that are just screwed up so bad. This one you're thinking 3 different directions, but you wore it like a badge of honor in the day. So you're right. 16-inch should be better, but I have been out of touch a little bit as far as what's going on in the city. And if the city high schools are still doing it, they should still do it. It's the cheapest. I remember Rahm Emanuel got rid of it for a while. I go, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's cheaper than any sport. So that's, I'll tell you what, softball in the high schools, softball on TV, of all the things I've done and being in the Softball Hall of Fame, I'm as proud of that as I am of anything, because I started out playing softball. I started out playing on the sandlot like everybody else did. Just a terrific bunch of guys, good Hall of Fame, keeping the game alive, and so are you guys, and the Beacon Tap. You got to get somebody big to sponsor something on TV like that, but I'm not saying it's impossible.
That's what we wanted Jimmy to be our sponsor. We need Jimmy to cough up a little bit more money so we can get these games on ESPN, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you something. I never even thought of it as far as that, because I've sat there and watched that station sometimes on Sunday mornings, where, throw a ring around my wrist, that's okay. But so that's something definitely to consider. But I mean, I think the demise, what really hurt the city game, neighborhoods changed. I mean, Clarendon Park, was one of the great parks. And people, 5, 6, 7, 800 people used to go there in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Kelly Park.
Kelly Park, Clarendon Park. These parks, especially Clarendon, which was right by the lake on summer nights, people didn't have air conditioning. They'd go watch like 3, 4 ball games. They'd sit in the bleachers, they have beers with their friends. My dad took me to a couple of games when I was a kid, and boom, I was hooked.
Yeah, no, even like Grant Park is another one that we've had kind of suggestions for too down in the city. I know those games would draw a pretty large crowd if we were able to get people out there for sure.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I got it. When I was on the score, I was the major voice of softball. There's no doubt about it, because I had, not because of my voice, but because of my knowledge. I played the game. I organized. I managed. I owned.
Right.
I did it all. But I was on the score. George Bliss does a tremendous job with this softball hotline. The Hall of Fame does a great job. They do everything they can. But I don't know if softball will ever have a spokesperson in radio at the height of that radio station. I mean, to me, they were the 16-inch softball was the 6th franchise I had. We had softball tournaments to score when I worked there. We had softball tournaments at Grant Park. And my licorice team won the Triple Crown. They won Grant Park in one year. They won Forest Park. I mean, they won the world. I mean, so they did it all. But the Grant Park is an outstanding facility, plenty of fields. The one thing I didn't like about Grant Park and Portage Park, if you guys ever played at Portage Park?
Yeah, the left fielder. I know where you're
If
going.
there's a game at the Diamond, it's 17 miles across the park. And you got 5 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
The same thing with Grant Park. Hey, where's our game? Oh, it's over by Balboa. I go, okay, thanks, But those were the days, and enjoy it. While you guys are playing softball, enjoy it. Because, man, I told my buddy one time, I think it was 19, I'm going to say we won Hamlin in the Blackjacks. My team, the Blackjacks, the team I played on, we won Hamlin, I think, in 84. And I told my buddy, I said, listen, this ain't going to last forever. Enjoy it. And now I'm talking to you 2 lumps. What the hell happened?
Well, hey, Mike North, you got to get it right. 2 handsome individuals.
Correct.
Let me tell you something. Mike, you 2 guys, I love what you're doing. I love the podcasting. You gotta love the game of softball to be doing something like this. Yeah. And it's a game that's still alive. I mean, that's still going. I'd like to get it out in the suburbs more. I remember Tim Maher.
Yeah.
When I did the public league, Timmy tapped me and he said, "Do you think I can? You mind if I do the Catholic league?" I go, "Do the Catholic league." My dream was the public league and in the Catholic league to eventually play like they do in the prep bowl for football. Yeah. That was my dream to happen. It didn't happen that way as long as I was involved in it. But man, to see Lane Tech, to see the Tafts, to see the Clementis, to see these kids who might not have played sports, play a game that I had a hand in, and being a public leaguer myself, it's something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think, starting at the younger levels only helps promote the game, especially as we grow to the major level, right? So I've been playing major softball. I've been fortunate enough to play with a lot of the guys that played on your licorice team when I was a young kid. The Bobby Russes, the Randy Russes, those guys.
See, I thought you were Bobby Russ's illegitimate son. You look just like him.
Bobby Russ always says that because I'm so good looking, but he always wants to, hop on the bandwagon. It can't happen. So my hair is a lot better than his. You know what, though, Mike North? I'm going to tell you this, though. You do bring a nice hair game that,
listen. Let me tell you something.
Looks like you still got some hair up there.
I got it. Yeah. Wait a minute. Is the toupee crooked?
No, you're good, my man.
The softball players, I haven't been at the Hall of Fame dinner for a while. I may go back because I actually miss even half the guys I couldn't stand. And they probably feel the same way. Right. But it's not that I didn't respect them. I didn't like shaking hands after a game. Right. But I did. I wasn't a guy that was asked to play on other teams because I didn't make friends with a lot of other people. I don't know if there's guys still like that or if it's more glad handing like everything else is.
No, there's still some rivalries. I agree.
Yeah, I think the rivalries are big. I think that I played at Potawatomi Park and you had 8 good teams. 8 good teams and you had Tuesday and Thursday leagues. I mean, every park had leagues back then, and that's the thing I think that is impossible to do now. You know, I mean, even Clarendon Park got bad as I was playing there as we were playing there in the late 80s, early 90s. It started to get bad around there too. So you know, they move things around. Mount Prospect, Clyde Park, you know, all those different parks. And on the north side, there's not a park I didn't play at. I don't care if it was Reese Park, if it was Portage Park, if it was Horner Park, Potawatomi Park, Margate. I played at every, and I probably drank at every bar in the north side too. And some south side bars, Fat Sam's and Orland Park and all those places when we used to play in the south side tournaments.
Okay. Yeah. No. Some of those places probably been closed for 40 years, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't drank for 17. I forgot what beer tastes like, but boy, I'll tell you what, we played hard back then and we partied hard back then. I'm sure nothing's changed.
Yeah, no, nothing's changed on that end, that's for sure.
Nothing's changed.
But let's get into softball. I know Donnie's got a bunch of questions for you. I got a bunch of questions.
Okay.
You know, you brought up licorice.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people know licorice, where it started. I know where the name came from.
Right.
You want to talk about where the name came from? I think it's a pretty cool story.
It is. Well, what happened was Rich Millman wanted to get out of the lettuce situation. And me and Rich were talking. He goes, "You got the gelt. What do you think?" And I didn't know how much gelt I'd need for this group, but it was a pretty good group. I had no problem. Mm-hmm. I said, "If you guys win for me, I'll take over the team." Bobby Russ, Randy Russ, Bobby Lopez, just Richie Barron, one of my favorite players of all time, one of my good buddies who I miss. Every one of those guys. Pat Caputo, who I understand is not feeling well right now. Pat, I love you.
Yeah.
Bobby Russ Sr., who managed my team, and then later Egg Zarnik.
Yep.
I mean, I had 4 of the greatest. See, Rich was more the statesman. I partied with my team. I mean, I had parties at my house.
I heard.
Yeah, we had blowouts, all night blowouts. We had guys that, you know, had to go to work we won Forest Park on a Sunday night. There were people sleeping in my house on the floor at 9 a.m. on Monday.
Imagine.
The bar, it was like the whole team. Yeah. And we had some great times. I don't, you know what? We weren't tame. This team played hard and they won championships. They won nationals. They won Grant Park. They won Forest Park. They won like 5, 6. And then I'll never forget. They gave you 1 trophy. And Bob Russ Sr. Bobby was an operator.
I know Senior very well.
Oh yeah,
he was.
Bobby and I always locked heads. I was the guy that was sponsored, but I always deferred to Bobby. And I sort of wanted to give the trophy to Bob in a way, but I was the sponsor. Okay, so what was I going to do? And the trophies are huge if you've seen them. Mm-hmm. I bought the whole team trophies. I bought the whole team. I said, screw it. I'm buying my whole team trophies. Well, how can you give just 1 trophy? I know they do that in Major League Baseball, but these guys put their blood and sweat into something. Now they can look at the trophy at their home. And it was, I called the people. I go, "Did you just make the national championship trophies?" "Yeah." "Order me 26 of them." They go, "You know how much that's going to cost?" I go, "Order me 26 trophies." And that's what we did. That's what we did.
Yeah.
I love my guys.
The name licorice actually
that came from my dog.
Your dog, yeah.
And it was close to lettuce, but when I first announced it to the guys, I go, "We're going to be called Licorice." And they knew from listening to me on the radio that, hey, okay. They went with it, and it turned out to be a cool thing. We had 3, 4 different uniforms. We had the best hotel accommodations when we traveled to Iowa or Wisconsin or wherever they had to go. They were treated great. And my wife and I love every one of them. BB and I
Sounds
love
like you need to come back and support the Hex Squad.
Well, you know what I used to get me mad? I used to hustle up sponsors for my neighborhood team, the Saints.
Yeah.
And we had a bowling alley on Ridge and Peterson right by, and it was called Ridge Bowl. And what bothered me about was not supporting the sponsors sometimes. And there are guys, as you know, that will come out and play the damn games. And now I've been playing softball. I played softball for 6 decades. I won my first championship in 1969, and I played into the 2000s. I never liked the fact if somebody sponsored you that you didn't go back to the sponsor. And sometimes that would cause some hard feelings because, I'm going, come on, guys, why you go? Well, there's not enough, people here. There's not enough girls there. That's not the point. At least stop in for a couple. But sponsors in this town, and I think softball's gotten expensive. Okay.
Yep.
Too expensive. I mean, it's become a money cow for a lot. I think that the sponsors are the lifeblood of softball. And if you lose them and start to overprice them, then you're going to have problems. I don't know how hard it is for you guys to get sponsors or to get a full amount. I mean, at the end, we were getting a couple sponsors. I had 3-4 sponsors sponsor our guys. We had the cachet. I mean, I got a uniform. You want to see a cool uniform I had made for my guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it out. But
okay.
This is one of Donnie's questions all the time.
All right.
All right. Okay. I don't want to fall out of my chair here. I had so many cool uniforms for my guys. Sorry, you had to look at the ceiling. But this, I'm going to hold it up. This is Janley Garage Grill, right? Hold on.
Don't hurt yourself, Mike.
I'm not. This was our sleeveless uniform with black undershirt underneath.
Oh, yeah.
With the licorice logo, licorice chasing the frisbee. Danley's Garage World on the back with 1160. The score sponsored it too, the first score. So
cool.
Yeah, and I took it after this jersey. Like this was a Cincinnati Reds jersey. Pete Rose's jersey. These were the best. I don't know why Cincinnati
Pete Rose
won't go back to these jerseys. The sleeveless jerseys are 2 of the coolest jerseys you'll ever had. I had Signs of Success was the name of the uniform company, and we were one of their major. And I mean, me and the guys, the Russ brothers, and we designed the uniforms. We went into their area, and we got, like they do with Nike, we got to design the uniforms that we wanted, and we had some buttes. We really did. So, yeah, it was a good 4 years that I owned that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
then darn it, Eggs took it over, and Eggs and I used to pitch against each other. And Eggs took over a tough situation because he was replacing a popular manager in Bob West, and Eggs did a good job too. Period.
Yep. So, Donnie, go ahead with your question.
We talked about, some of the awards and things that, before you got on, Jimmy kind of prefaced by saying some of the accolades that you've won in your life. And you actually, you talked about the big trophies that you get for winning Forest Park and getting your whole team trophies. You've had some professional awards and now some kind of 16-inch softball awards.
Right.
Where do those stack up with the Emmys and with that kind of stuff? Where do the 16-inch softball awards kind of hang in there?
I'm in the I won 2 Emmys. I won 4 Radio Broadcaster of the Year awards. I won the Ellis Island Award in New York for going from rags to riches. I mean, guys like Ernest Borgnine, Muhammad Ali, Donald Trump. A lot of guys have won that award. That was a big one for me because I was nationally recognized. But being in the Softball Hall of Fame,
yeah,
as good as it gets, man. I mean, I wanted so badly to win every tournament, every game I ever played in. I drove myself. I won the MVP of the Hamlin tournament, I think, in 1984. There was 400 players there.
Wow.
That day, we won 6 games. We beat guys like Egg Zarnik, Tommy Horn from Fusion, who I love. Tommy, I hope. Greatest competitor. Love you. I really tried to measure up to him. I finally beat him because he used to beat us like a stepchild, a redhead stepchild. But for that day, there was 300. They told me there's 375 players, 35 teams. All the top players are here. You're the MVP. I was the best player in softball for one day. Nobody could take that away from me. I got the trophy. It's a little thing. I go, I'm the MVP. It's a little thing, but it means a lot. It meant a lot to me because softball players put so much hard work into what they do. The great ones do. Nobody sees. I mean, I used to take 100 grounders. I worked for the park district, so I'd take 100 grounders a day at shortstop, and then I'd move to pitcher. And because I had played shortstop, I was able to field my position, which is so important. But in Mount Prospect, in the big leagues,
yep,
you better have the bats. I don't care what kind of pitcher you are. I tried every trick in the book, and there's certain things you just can't get away with the best players in the game. You just can't. I mean, you can't throw a split finger.
It's only underhand, as I always say.
You can speed it up. You can move to the right of the rubber. You know, you can move back. You can throw the looper. You can do whatever you want. You can start from the left, move it around. What you just got to try to mix it up a little bit because they're just waiting for the ball to come over the plate. They know sooner or later you got to feed them, and you need some players behind you. And I was fortunate in my time that I pitched, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. If there's any pitchers out there, it's the guys behind you, man. I mean, guys that you see. There's a kid named Bobby Olson who played for the Scorpions and played for Lettuce.
Yep.
I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame. He should be. He's a hell of a ball player. When I played against him, he was a lefty. He hit a 2-hopper to third. He was on first. Okay? You're not getting him out. I ended up playing with him. I was never so happy in my life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know there are guys that are just a step up of everybody else because he was one of those guys. He did 650 without any problem. He's like the Jake Jacoby's, hit both lines and stuff like that.
Right. So, since we're on the player talk, one of my questions I had for you tonight, Mike, is what is your favorite player either to watch or the player that you never had a chance to play with in your time that you always wanted to play with? I know you just brought up Mr. Olson. Obviously, you had a chance to play with him. But
I'll tell you my favorite player in softball, and I don't want to disparage every guy on my team. Sure. And by the way, Bobby Lopez's son used to be our bat boy, and he's playing for the White Sox. Nicky Lopez.
Yeah. Very familiar.
So that's unbelievable in itself. But my favorite ball player to watch, we had a guy, Tommy Horn was one of my favorites, bomber. Played for Fusion. But if I had to take a big guy, if I had to take a guy from my own Lettuce team, my favorite ball player was Richie Barron. Because we had a kid named Dave Rule who was a good ball player. I don't think he was. You still know all these guys, right?
I know him. I played with Richie on the Jinx, so I'm very familiar with Richie.
Yep. Richie and I didn't know each other that well. He's a South Side guy. I'm a North Side guy. But we were on the same wavelength. And I think Richie Davey was great. I think Richie had a little bit better bat. They were both good in the field, but Davey could move to short center and stuff like that. He ended up leaving. Richie played shortstop for us. He was, in my opinion, our leader. But I know you got guys like Randy Russ and Bobby Russ, and you got guys like that on your team, and then you got leadership, and you got the pitcher like Caputo. These guys, they're all tremendous. Nicky Markakis. Nicky was one of my favorite players.
Marchese, right?
Marchese, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think of the Markakis in Atlanta. I get them mixed up. They both looked alike. I go,
don't worry, Mike. I'm here to correct you, my man. Don't worry.
That's all right. I'm getting up there, you know. You know what I mean? But Nicky was another great one. all these guys, just top of the line ball players.
Yeah, we got some really great comments coming in for you, Mike, and want to give a quick shout out to people watching live with us.
Oh,
Dave
good.
Butterfield says Hall of Fame 2023, Bobby Olson. So he did get into the Hall of Fame.
He did. God bless.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it. I love Bobby Olson. He should have been in before. I told George Bliss and a couple other guys, I go, man, you guys are missing the boat on the one guy. So I'm glad they corrected that. I am. Bobby's a quiet guy. He had a stuttering problem. Wasn't really a guy that would talk about himself or anything like that. He just made every play in center field, and the guy would hit 600 easily without any problem.
I love it.
Yeah, I see all the comments.
We also had another text from a man named Jeff Berger who said, "Tell Mike North I said hello." He texted me just a minute ago, Jim. So he's watching the show.
Jeff.
So
a
lot of people do, and he always texts me during the show with some cool comments. I had a really good comment, Jim, from Frank Janzik, who's a first-time watcher of our show. That was my college golf coach who was watching our show. It says Mike North is the man. He umpired many of your games. So thanks, Frank, for tuning in. That's pretty cool.
I had the umpires. I gave them grief. I mean, the umpires, they were making $35 a game back then and stuff, and they were taking, I don't care what park you're playing at, they do take some grief, but you'd see those guys and they'd be out there every single night. Just tremendous. It's good we're getting all these comments.
A lot of people. I mean, we're driving quite the audience. So, of course, we appreciate you coming on. It's really kind of nice to meet you. And guys,
it's good to meet you. I'm sorry we had the problem early, guys. I kept my swear words to myself. By the way, Tigerland about Fort Polk, that might be about our damn platoon. I saw that movie with Colin Farrell, some other people. I go, wow. I was at Fort Polk, and that was no picnic. But I brought my 16-inch softball to the fort. When I went home on leave, I tell the guys they're from Alabama, Louisiana, Missouri. There was a black kid from Alabama. His actual name, honest to God, Willie Mays. I go, Willie Mays. He goes, I go, we play 16-inch softball, no gloves. Get the hell out of here. I went home on leave. I brought it back, and they go. They couldn't even comprehend it. I go, the ball in the first and second inning is that hard, and it flies at you. You better be ready. Guys break their fingers, miss work. Back then, I played so long ago. Metal spikes were still allowed, and there was no slide rule. You could bowl over the catcher. Back then.
Yeah.
Guys would miss work. Videos too, yeah.
Guys would break shoulders. You're playing a game in the middle of in the middle of August. Season game. Here comes boom. You're out for a month. It was crazy.
It's pretty impressive how the game of softball, though, if you really think about it. I go to Yuma for a big tournament in Yuma.
I hear about that. Is that Al Mag's tournament?
Yeah. So there's one in Scottsdale. We just played Mags. The San Diego teams are now playing. Iowa's really improved, Mike, for a handful of years. So the game is, to an extent, really kind of is growing a little bit at the major level. I just feel, to your point, you made a great point earlier, really the city has changed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think if we can make that happen more in the suburbs, which, we're starting to see more and more Sunday leagues, we're starting to see more and more family-oriented type events. And that's really what's drawing some of the bigger crowds today. I don't know if you've been to like a Papa Hops event on the south side of Chicago. I know you're a north sider, but on the south side, that still draws 5,000-6,000 people out there for one night tournament. So
it's the greatest. Softball is the greatest. I remember playing on the neighborhood team with all my buddies that I grew up with since we were 8 years old.
Yeah.
And we're in our early 20s. And all our parents are out there. And our parents, we lived on the north side. We all lived on different streets from each other. Our parents, and yet there they were, behind the diamond. All our parents watching us play,
Right.
So it was pretty cool. I miss playing softball of all the sports. I mean, I played football, baseball, basketball. I did pretty well, but softball was something. And there's nothing worse than a tough softball loss. There's nothing worse in losing a championship game on a dropped ball. It's happened to all of us. You want to. There's nothing that hurts more. And you're playing for a trophy. I mean, I still got all my jackets from all the sports I played. I'm never getting rid of them. My wife thinks I'm nuts. I go, I worked for those. You still got dresses from the 90s? Throw them out.
Yeah.
I go, I'm not throwing out my jackets. Forget about it. Come on.
It's a great point. I mean, it's
You play for the jacket. I never played for the money. I wanted the jacket or the trophies. I did because the money doesn't last that long anyway. The money's gone. It's the jacket that you can look in and say, Clarendon Park champion, 1984. Margate Park champion, Potawatomi Park champion. You see that and you say, you know what? We were pretty good. The teams you played on were pretty good. So, and you were competitive. And I know you guys playing competitive. You playing with some big boys.
Oh, yeah.
How about the golfer? Are you still playing golf?
I work in the golf industry, so I play all the time. But softball takes the cake for me. I play softball every night. So
somehow I like that ESPN idea. I like that idea because we'll see what we can do on that, fellas. My God,
we definitely need you to pull some strings for us on that. We'd love to get on ESPN 8 the Ocho and play a little 16-inch softball. Yeah,
we got to figure something out, man. But you know what? We actually played a softball game for the score. It was the Grant Park tournament, and we had a pro-am. We had Urlacher out, and it was on the radio. It was cool, and I was wearing a headset while I was pitching, doing the game. That's when we were rolling. The Hall of Fame's still rolling. I appreciate all the guys that bust their ass for that Hall of Fame. And I heard my buddy, I might have to come back. I heard Steve Castro was there. You can't have Steve Castro there without Mike North. I'm sorry. That's like Brick House without Lou Boudreaux. I have to carry about Steve Stone. What, are you crazy over there? I got to come back. What am I going to do? But you know what? I'm 71 now. And you know what? I like to watch TV and loaf. Do you guys like to loaf?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
There's nothing like it. You know what? Being semi-retired is like being 15 again. You go to the beach or you watch TV. It's the summer. You don't have to go anywhere. It's what it's like. I mean, I'm not anxious. You guys are both young guys. How old's the guy in the left? How old are you?
20. I just turned 28 years old.
28. And how old are you?
I'm in my early 40s. Even though I look.
You're the Bobby Russ's love child. That's who you are. You two good. You two guys. I can't believe it. I said, is Bobby doing the show? You guys get some good viewers, some good comments too.
We've been doing this. We've been doing this show
for a while. My biggest nemesis as a player? Bobby Olson was a big nemesis of mine as a player. But there were so many great teams. There was a team at Potawatomi called the Deckers, the Fusion. Fusion was a nemesis of ours. The Scorpions, they were with the Dietzes and stuff. They were tough. There were certain teams that have your number, and then you have certain teams' number. That's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah. No. 100%. That's still the same way today. It's just the way it goes.
Who's still the power? Who is the 45s? I hear we're still churning away.
There's 45. Yeah. So there's about 7 or 8 really quality, I say, major teams. I mean, there's anyone could beat anyone, but. You got 45, Signature, the team Donnie plays for.
That's wild.
Moneyline, Hex, the team I play for. You have Chuck from Iowa now. You have BTA. You have High Y.
Nice. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Don't let it die. We can't let it die, guys.
No, and we're not.
That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this, Mike.
That's awesome. You guys have fun too.
One of the questions I had for you kind of retains to that.
Take your time. I could stay here till midnight. This is the first time I've been up past 9:15 in like 6 months. This is awesome.
I'll tell you this, Mike. We got a lot of stuff on your plate, so you better get some NyQuil.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask because you're surrounding yourself with podcasts now, and that kind of new media outlet probably within the last couple of years has kind of taken things over, and that's kind of what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to be an outlet for people to go somewhere and talk about and learn about softball. How would you? What's the way we can grow this thing faster and essentially hit more of an audience? Because you're on the big time networks with podcasts. You guys are on a major network, so
I have not every podcast sells, and because I was able to do 16 years at the Score, 6 years at Fox Sports Radio. Now I'm in my 5th year. We just celebrated of ESPN. All my runs have been good, and I've had a loyal fan base. What happened with me and what happens with other people is you sort of get pushed out of certain arenas. It happens to everybody. Michael Jordan was kicked out of Chicago. I mean, think about that. I mean, the greatest who ever dug. If you're great at something, you're going to be pushed out eventually, and you're going to be replaced. Okay. Podcasting has given, because of the way radio is now, it's not as, in my opinion, as good as it used to be.
Right.
Podcasting has opened it up for everybody. What you got to do what I did when I brokered radio back in 1989. I had an idea. They were doing Athlete's Feet at WXRT. And the WXRT people used to come in my hot dog stand. And I said, hey, guys, I heard Bob Birdie, who did Athlete's Feet, is going to be off this next week. How about letting me do it? And they said, nobody knows who you are, Mike. And you're 37 years old. You're too old to get into radio anyway. I go, but if I wanted to get into radio, what would I do? And at the time, there was no computers and no podcasting. You brokered time. So I brokered time for $200 a week, paid a producer $100, which back in 1989, $300 a week, $1,200 a month was a lot of money. But I sold $50 and $100 worth of advertising, 100 for 60 seconds, and 30 seconds for $50. And I went to all the stores. I said, would you like to be on the radio? And then I got it listed in the Sun Times with Dan Cahill, 1240 WSBC. Well, I started building up a following. I was making a ton of money per week from the advertising. I ended up doing 2 years, but that's how they heard me to hire me at the Score. And that's how, but what it does for you, you can sell advertising. You don't just have to stop at the Beacon. And I'm sure they give you, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be open to it. See, people look at advertising, they think you have to be this or that. Golf ratings aren't always Buffalo, guys.
Right.
But golf, who do they get to advertise? Buick, Cadillac, Rolex. They get the top dogs. I'm fortunate. I got Well Jewelers. I got Cumberland Chapels. I've had Portillo's. I've had the Village of Rosemont with the great Brad Stevens. I've had tons. That's what you got to do. And then you get a couple more sponsors. You're not only doing it because you enjoy it, but you're making some money at it. And I'm sure you guys are making a little bit, which is great. And it's good for the Beacon.
Yeah.
It's good for them. It is.
Yep.
Sponsorships and podcasting, more people should look into it, because at times radio can get muddled down. Are you in the 3rd minute of a 5-minute advertising thing? You're just another commercial. Here you get specialty treatment. You can mention the Beacon. I can mention Raul Jewelers as much as you want and give them their money's worth. And I think that's the thing.
Raul Jewelers, it's funny. I actually sat on the jewelry board with Howard Fromm, so I know Raul Jewelers very well.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
They're very good. They're out there on Barrington Road.
Yep.
He found Steuben kid. He was a public leaguer, and now he's been in business. Brad Gams for 40 years. Tremendous people.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's good, guys. I got nothing to complain.
World.
The only thing I complain about is the Bears. That's the only thing I got to complain about. But I've been
There's
doing
a lot
that
to
for
complain
60
about
years.
there. I'm not a Bears fan, so.
Well, you know what? You got a lot of less grief.
Yeah.
What? You're probably a Packer fan.
You know it.
Oh my God.
Die hard.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Mike. That's for sure.
Well, you know what? They do a good job developing quarterbacks, and I always admired the '60s teams. We never hated the '60 teams. We loved them. I can name you every player. I'm sure your father could, I can name you every player on that team, From Willie Davis to Ray Nitschke to Fuzzy Thurston, to the great Bart Starr, Jimmy Taylor, Paul Horning, Willie Wood. These guys were all studs, all studs.
So
I'm having a good night tonight. I'm hot. Rolling.
You're doing all right.
So Mike, we always on the show, we always play a little game which is called our top 10. So we call it rapid fire.
Yeah.
What I do, Mike, is I give you 10 names and we try to have you keep it to a sentence or two of each name. Some of the names you've already brought up tonight, as you've been bringing these names up, I've been laughing because they're on my top 10.
Of course, because if it's softball names.
Some are softball names, and because you were kind of a Chicago icon on the radio, I put in some Chicago athletes, per se, that I know that you had conversation with or had some very good partying nights with.
All right.
So I'm going to start with number 10, and that's Bobby Rush Jr.
Bobby's one of the greats. Bobby Rush. He got hammered so bad one night at my house. It was New Year's, and he was a mess the next day. I'll leave it at that. I had to order new furniture practically. Bobby's one of the great guys. I berated the hell out of him one time. We were on our way to the stadium. Bobby tells me these stories. You know what Bobby likes to do? Bobby, as you know, you'll do something and he'll hit on that forever.
Ever. Never let it go.
Until you get something on him. And you start doing it and does something. Great ball player, great friend. Loves it, love his family. I'm happy, and I'm happy he's doing good.
So number 9, I think this is going to be a good one because I've heard some rumors, and I don't know if they're true or not. Mr. Dennis Rodman,
the greatest. Dennis, I had him on the radio after he got traded from San Antonio to the Bulls. He came on, says, "I'm coming to Chicago tonight." We had an interview. He tells my producer at the time, the great Jesse Rogers, who's at ESPN now. He says, "Let me talk to the host off the air." So Jesse goes, "Rodman wants to talk to you." He goes, "Where are you going tonight?" I said, "Well, I go to this place, Gibson's." "I've been to Gibson's. I'm going to be there." I go, "Yeah, because all the coaches are here from Moody Bible Institute. They used to have the pre-draft camp." He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to be at Gibson's. You going to be there?" I go, "Yeah, I'm going to bring my wife." He goes, "Bring her." So I walk in with my wife, and there's Chuck Daly, Mike Fratello, a lot of coaches because the Moody. And I go to Chuck Daly. I go, "Chuck, Mike North from the Score. Hey, Mike, how the hell are you?" I go, "Good." "Hey, I bought a new watch. Look at this." Guy dressed immaculately, right?
Yeah.
Here comes Dennis Rodman dressed in pajama bottoms, a Shell gas station shirt that says Al with the Shell logo, hat with the nose rings. Had dinner, me, him, my wife, and Chuck Daly. "Mrs. North, would you like anything else?" Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
We became like this. One of the nicest people you'll ever want to meet.
Yeah. Awesome. Number 8, someone who's still around the game a little bit, helps out with our SSA organization, George Bliss.
Oh, George is a lover of the game. I think George has done a tantamount job. The only problem that I've ever had with George is he's too liberal for my blood, and I always let him have it.
Yeah.
I go, how's things going in town, big shot, you know?
Yeah,
but George has been as tantamount to softball as anybody else with a little fanfare.
Yeah.
You know, George is a guy that, you know, at all the major tournaments showed up, and he's always been a big supporter.
Yep, and still is to this day. So number 7, I know this guy very well. This is somebody that I think you had an argument with once on the radio, Mr. Ozzie Guillen.
Oh, I love Ozzie. I don't know if he loves me, but Ozzie had the guts to call. Ozzie had the guts to call in, and I went across the street that day after he got in the argument with me, and because we were doing the show from High Tops, another great place that's gone. I wish it was still there. Wow.
Yeah.
What a place that was. And I went over there and we hugged and stuff, but I don't think Ozzie has ever, because the cut gets played a lot. Howard Stern played it. I mean, and but Ozzy's the best manager the White Sox have ever had. I mean,
Yeah.
that's simple. I mean, and he's on the outside looking in. I mean, I know he made some mistakes, and he's arm's length away when you got nonsense going on, in my opinion, over there. He should be back there managing.
He's been coaching right now in Venezuela.
He won.
Yeah, he
won
won the World Series there. Yeah.
He shows up and they win it.
Yeah.
And then we got to look at Pedro Grifoil or whatever his name is.
Yeah. So it's hysterical, but hopefully he'll get another chance someday, somehow, Number 6, Keith Filkins.
Didn't know Keith well. He's one of the guys I was talking about. I don't know what Keith did. None of us know what we did for a living back then. Nobody had.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked at the guy.
How was he as a ball player in your day, though? I know he was.
I always thought of Keith.
Yep.
As an offensive ball player.
Yeah.
There's guys that can play. He was an offensive juggernaut. Period. I played with a guy named Rob Hebda the same way. Tommy Navoso. These guys. The difference between Keith, he wasn't as big as these other guys. He was just boom. He just had that compact swing.
Right.
You tried to pitch him inside. You tried to pitch him high. My favorite, I was a high arc pitcher. If you played in tournaments with the high arc, that was awesome because you pitched the waist high to these guys, they'll destroy you.
Yeah. There's not many of those unlimited arc.
And Keith was the most popular. Keith was. And I didn't have a lot of run-ins with Keith, and he's a quiet guy with me. We were quiet. But he was probably, in the 80s, he was the most out there. He was like the Willie Mays of our sport. I mean, the big gunner. You'd always hear his name.
Yeah, so that moves us to number 5.
Okay.
I don't care what they say. This is the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. And I know you were on it.
Michael, I went to the 35 and over camp. Michael decided to have a Nike 35 and over camp where if you're 35 and over, each guy pays $15,000 if you wanted to go to Bally's in Las Vegas for 3 days. And they had a camp, and then they picked teams. And you played a schedule of 8 games in the big Bally showrooms. Coach K was our coach. And Coach K drafted all Chicago guys. And we played against Hubie Brown, Mike Fratello, John Thompson, all these coaches. We won the league. And Michael also reffed the games. One of the poorest losers I've ever seen. We played blackjack together. He's got 3,000 on the table, and I got 300. Okay, but we're sitting next to each other. I got $300 on the table. That's a lot of money. I go, but he's got 3,000. I mean, the dealer's showing 10. I mean, I hit on 13. It comes up 9. He gets mad at me. I go, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to lose because very poor loser. I shot him in free throws. I beat him 5 out of 5 to 4 out of 5. His last one rolled out. He owes me $100. With interest, he probably owes me about $52,000. It's been since but he's just a competitive son of a gun and a mean ass if he loses. Mean.
Yeah. Mike, have you ever golfed with Michael Jordan?
No, I would never do that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Him and Ditka. I golfed with Diana Ditka, and she's so nice. Yeah. But Mike I like to play golf fast. He's a speed golfer, and if some guys were lagging behind, he wouldn't wait.
Yeah.
He'd go to the next hole. Mike was a little losing it too back then.
Yeah.
Those were the greatest years.
Yeah.
You'd be playing golf with you'd see a guy play. I'll never forget him at Jilly's one night. And I'm looking, and we're all dancing. I'm looking on the dance floor. There's Shaq and there's Ditka. I mean, the 90s were huge on Rush Street and everything. I don't know if you ever see it again with the way things are going. Hopefully you will.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Number 4, Jeff Berger.
Jeff's a great guy. One of the all-time greats. Always came up with the plays. People thought that Jeff would get hot. Jeff got a temper on him too.
Oh yeah.
So I respected the hell out of Jeff, and I haven't seen Jeff for a long time either. But he played shortstop. He played to me, I played short, and then when I pulled some hamstrings later on, I had to pitch, which was good for me. But I always thought if you have a good shortstop, we had Richie Barron, we just talked, and Jeff could play other positions. But if you had good infield, a good shortstop, you had a good shot. Your shortstop, I think it should be your best athlete, in my opinion.
Yep. I 100% agree with you there.
Yep.
So, number 3 actually is somebody that I know is an all-time legend in Chicago. I've heard that you have a tremendous memorabilia collection of this individual. I've also heard that your basement, I don't know, maybe it's your old house, per se, had a long bar of about 10 stools and so on.
20, 25. We had bigger bar. We had a bigger bar than half the bars in Chicago.
That's what I was told. And this memorabilia is actually was incredible from what I understand, and the name is Walter Payton.
Oh yeah. I got my favorite memorabilia. I got Walter Payton pictures. Me and Walter. I got pictures of us sitting in the back of Basta Pasta restaurant eating together. I got memorabilia I got pictures of me and Warren Beatty with movie stars, but Walter Payton was the nicest athletes I ever hung out with. Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, Doug Buffon, Jeremy Roenick, Jim Harbaugh. I don't know if you guys ever heard the story about. I'm at Gibson's one night, have a couple drinks in me, and Roenick comes in, and Harbaugh comes in, who's at the time playing for the Bears, and Roenick. Yeah. So I'm saying hi to him, and Chelios comes in. The next thing I know, Roenick goes, "What's all these neighborhoods I hear about?" Because Roenick was from Boston. Are they like Boston neighbors? I go, yeah. I go, the neighborhood I grew up was a great neighborhood. The neighborhood I live in now. Plus, there's a real great neighborhood, Edison Park. And he goes, "Let's go." I go, "You want to go to my neighborhood?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, get on to Kennedy. Harbaugh's following me in some Suburban. I'm in my caddy. And here goes like I think a Ferrari, 160 miles an hour. Down. When he walked into Edison Park him and Harbaugh, I got the picture. The whole place. It's like when Liberty Valance walks in to the John, the whole car turns on. These two guys walked in. You have two major stars walk into Edison Park Tap, and then they went to Basta Pasta. We went to about 4 Mickey's. We went to about 4 bars that night, and everybody was speechless. These two big stars coming into the neighborhood. So those are the type of guys they were.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Wow. So out of all those celebrities, because the next 2 guys are been a part of softball, but out of all those celebrities, any of those celebrities ever tried 16-inch that you know of, or even know what it's about?
Try what? Oh yeah, Jordan loved 16-inch softball. Urlacher.
Really?
Talked to George Bliss about it. Yeah, they all loved it. They played in the Grant Park tournament. Jordan, Jordan played at Dillon's. Dillon's was great. And yeah, they all could play. Melman and all them guys, they would get together celebrity softball games. Michael loved 16-inch softball. There's in Chicago history, you can find a picture of Michael Jordan with the 16-inch softball.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. Michael loved it. Urlacher played. I don't know how good they would have been, but Michael's a tremendous athlete.
Yeah.
Michael thinks he can beat you at anything. So
Pretty cool. Number 2, Pat Caputo.
Wow. Pat was like a peacemaker. Pat was the pitcher. Pat tried to stay out of the fray, but everybody knew his allegiance was towards Bobby Russ Sr. So Bobby had they worked together. And I liked Pat a lot. And we won championships. And I'm sorry to hear that he's been ill like that, because he's one of the really good guys. Yeah, every one of them's good guys. Softball players are just salt of the earth guys that, when you see the real guys. I think I've watched a lot of softball, and I watched the NBA. Softball players play harder than the NBA players do. Softball players want to win more. Every softball player, like I said, they didn't see a lot of money, and a lot of them had, you end up with failed marriages, some of them. My wife, she was a softball widow. That's what we called them, softball widows. And now, she put up with a lot, and, a lot of wives do it. Some of the marriages didn't last,
Right.
and even on some of the teams I played on. And to be honest with you, mine probably didn't deserve it either. And I got the greatest wife. I think we all got, ladies, that's true love. To sit through summers to go watch your husband play 4 nights. So they talk about Taylor Swift going to a goddamn football game.
Yeah.
Go to 4 softball games a week.
Yeah.
Huh? That's love.
Yeah.
That's love, man. Your man wants to pitch in a big ball game. I'm going to watch him. That's it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So,
Really quick, Jimmy, Ron Kavicki said that they have a picture of Jordan playing 60 in softball in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. I know,
That would be
Ronnie.
so Donnie, why don't you, before we get to number 1, because I think number 1 is going to be pretty funny, why don't you read some of the comments that are out there? I've seen a ton of comments come in.
Read some comments, but read only the good ones. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll only read the good ones. You read that one. People had to go to work the next day. We talked about. Say hello to Mike Willie Simpson. Laura Sims says, say hello to Mike Willie Simpson. Mike was a great guy for softball, and I want to say hello.
Willie, God bless you, man. Power hitter. Boom.
Chooch, the umpire, John Chooch. Tamara says, love you, Mike North.
Tamaraz, one of the all-time greats. And what a football player. What an ice skater. What a hockey player. What a guy.
I would have never guessed that Chooch was a hockey player. He's got bad knees now. That's probably why.
That's right. Chooch was a great hockey player. We, at Potawatomi, we faced them I played on a football team called the Ambushers, and then the Hill Rods. And Chooch played on the Cowboys. And they played on the softball team called the Mechanics. We had some battles with the Blackjacks. I played on a team called the Blackjacks. And we had Ronnie and all those guys, Pirate and Alex and Chooch. I remember the names from like 50 years ago. I mean, it's great.
It's funny that we had Nick Balestri on here, and you're kind of the similar way. You guys remember every detail about some of those older games. It's cool.
I would go back right now, and I went through some tough times, and we all go through tough times in certain instances. I never thought I was worth a damn because I had a menial job and I wasn't doing well, and I dropped out of high school. But sports saved me, and I think sports has been. I saw where the Phillips kids the other day went downstate. The Phillips kids.
Yep.
An all-black team from the Phillips won the state championship. And, all you read about is the bad kids and the school shootings, and I sent them a nice treat, man. Good for you guys. Keep it straight, because they got to go through probably hell every day just to go to school. So
I bet.
Yeah.
100%.
What else you got for me? You guys are losing steam. You're
Brian
losing
Mahoney.
steam.
No way. We're not done yet. We still got the number. We got plenty of action for you. Brian Mahoney says true Chicago sports radio. Kevin Duff, Richie Kaz, an old North Stars player who we had on our show.
Let me tell you about Richie Kaz. Richie Kaz. He lives out by me now, where I live out by.
Yes, he does.
And Richie, we had a hot dog stand called BB's for 8 years, and all the teams would come in. And Jay McDonough, who ended up playing arena football at quarterback, was one of the guys. They were all half pints. We called the school St. Viator's. We said, we're looking for 8th graders that would like to start working at our hot dog stand. And Richie was one of them. Little guy. The mop was bigger than him. And his brothers, just good friends of the family, neighborhood guys. And Richie, I see him every so often. And another good ball player, another hungry ball player. Played against him, played with him, had fun with him. Tell him I said, Richie, hello, buddy. God bless. The North Stars. The North Stars was a team that I put together. And
that was your first team, wasn't it?
That was our first team. I said, I want to put my own team together and challenge the big boys. And we had some great ball players. We had nice unis, did everything right, played good. And you know what? It at the end of the day, we didn't really reach all our goals, but we were a young team. But then I had the opportunity to get licorice and stuff. So
yeah,
we did that too. We had so much fun.
I believe it. I
Yeah.
can see it. Literally, the passion. I can
Yeah.
see it.
I love
that
softball.
leads me to number one, and this
Okay.
is the right-hand man, Mr. Steve Cashwell. We've talked about him already, but I know you've got a tremendous amount of stories. But tell us a little bit about Steve.
Steve was the straight guy that tolerated my nonsense in the booth. Um, while Steve was trying to keep track of everything, I was probably on my 7th beer or whatever on our 3rd game. We were professional. We did a good job. Sometimes I'd piss some people off and I'd see them at the ballpark the next week. You
Yeah.
should have had that ball, should have picked that up. A lot of announcers say nowadays, well, if you talk to so-and-so, he'd tell you he should have had it himself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I said he should have had that ball. And sometimes it'd be a tough play and you think you could have had that ball. You'd hear a little bit. But for the most part, everybody loved the TV games. You got to go home with your kids and your family. And yeah, Steve Cashel with Mike North, it was a proud time. And to have 16 inch softball on Sunday nights,
Yeah.
up against Channel. I could tell you a huge contingent. They were very happy. We spent more than 2 years doing it, but it was just so expensive. And that's why we did all the games in I think we did 4, 8, 12, 16. I think we did 22 games in 5 weeks, me and Steve.
Wow.
One after the other. After the other. And it was great. I was young then. I didn't get, and we had fun.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good coverage. And and that's what you're talking about with getting softball back on TV.
Yep. Perfect.
That would be incredible, right? I mean, even if we got on the ESPN U or any one of those smaller ESPN channels.
Even if you could look at Channel 2 plays garbage now. On Sunday. They play these stupid advertisements.
Yeah.
Put a game of 6. I mean, my God, it's a fast-paced game. The thing I liked about it, I'm trying to remember, maybe the guys know. Did we go with the 1-1 count? I don't think we went with the 1-1 count. We might have. Yeah. We went with the 1-1 count to speed the games up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I remember. So we could do the 4 games there.
Yeah.
And that worked out pretty good.
Yeah,
we had the mat and behind the plate and all that.
Yeah. What were those ratings kind of back in the day? I know you said you guys did pretty well, but what was the audience that actually watched it?
Oh my God. I mean, you'd get ratings. What they do is every quarter hour. We held our own. And what we did do is we would do sometimes as good as Wolf games and stuff like that, that were on that station.
Sure.
So softball, it's baseball with just a bigger ball. That's all it is.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's self-explanatory, and you can explain softball like me and Steve used to. What I liked is we had a lot of families watch.
Right.
Because Dad's on TV.
Right.
And there's Mom and the family, and there's Dad. Dad, you're watching at home. So that's a big contingent of people when you think of how many teams played at Forest Park back then. So it's just a beautiful deal.
Yeah, I mean, we still have the Forest Park League today as the major league in softball. They
still have the Forest Park tournament?
Oh, yeah. Every last weekend in July. So this year it'll be like the 25th, 26th, 27th.
I played the celebrity game. There. It was hilarious, man. I came back.
Come out this year.
Huh? I think I'm starting to miss everybody. It's been a little bit too long, and you guys got the fever going. And I do still stay in touch with guys like George Bliss and other people like that. I haven't seen Bobby. Tell him I said hello. I'm sure you will. Yep. And Randy and all them for a while, but softball is they got a field out here that's as beautiful as any in Huntley, and with a fence and everything, and beautiful dugouts.
Sure.
Maybe I should start a tournament out here.
There you go.
But see, when you want to get the 4, you'd want to get the 4 top teams out there, do they still have the rankings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, give me the
we
top
do them
4
right here on the show, Mike. We do them all the time.
What are the top 5 teams right now in softball, in your opinion?
Well, if the season started today, okay, and you're counting just Chicago base. I mean, you have a team in Chuck's in Iowa now that combined, the two best teams in Iowa combined.
Did
Okay?
they?
Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to
There
be
used
like.
to be a carpet place that
They won. They're the only team ever to win a major national. Yeah.
Well, I did the game.
Yeah.
I did that game.
And
And
Mount Prospect. Yep.
oh my God, me and Steve did the game. We sat behind home plate. It's the 7th inning. If I remember correctly, Splinter was up by, boy, what a memory, huh? Was up by 4. I think we were up by 4 points.
Yeah.
And Eggs was pitching. And he was pitching his same game. And they just hit everything. And they won the game. It was a downer. Because I had already set the mic up to interview I think Bob Ross was the manager there, and I was going to talk to Eggs for the station, and then I was going to interview him on radio, and George Bliss was helping me get everything set up, and then they lost the game, and that was a toughie. That was a tough one for us, for everybody, because it was mostly Chicago crowd.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's how those days were. And they used to rope that off. Donnie, I don't think you've ever played in Prospect, but I got to play it.
No, never. Yeah, never. Unfortunately, never got to.
Forest Park, they rope everything off. You had 2,000, 3,000 people.
We still get a big crowd Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights at Forest Park. Are tremendously large. So, like I said,
what do you play? What do you play now? What position do you play?
I played short for most of my year, but most of my life. But now I pitch.
Well, yeah, because you didn't put the feedback down. You're like Russ. You know what I mean? You're short. Come on, you know better than that. I mean, Bobby,
you get older and you get more handsome, and it just things.
Yeah, I know that. You two guys
tend to not work the way they used to.
Pitching was my favorite thing to do because you're in the game every pitch. But if things ain't going right, even if you could pitch 3 shutouts in a row, if things ain't going right that 4th game, come on. Or my nickname was Horse. Come on, Horse. You hear the nervous. All right, come on now.
It's always the pitcher's fault. You know that.
It's always. If we lose, we used to play the game we beat Fusion in at Clarendon for the Clarendon Park title. I think in 84, 85, 4-3.
Right.
4-3. I beat Eggs one time. He pitched for the Wolves 3-0. The year we won it. The Hamlet. The first game at any tournament for any team, if they're going to win, that first game is so important because how many times have you seen top teams end up in the losers bracket?
Yeah,
they get hijacked by the first team that they play. So that when we won that league, we won the first game barely, and then that weight's off you and you get a little bit looser.
Yep. We just had a comment come in. You mentioned Huntley. Mr. Kevin Duff, 16-inch league is called Del Webb.
Yes.
It's huge.
It's a huge league.
Yep.
I have a bad knee. If my knee wasn't messed up, I play a lot more golf now, but if my knee wasn't messed up as much as it is, plus, there's older guys there playing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the next thing you know, you're taking an 82-year-old guy out at second base,
He did that to himself, Mike. He put himself in that position, right?
I'm just saying, but it's a competitive juices flow, and all of a sudden you're legging out a double, and there's a 72-year-old waiting, so forget about it.
Mike, Kevin also makes another great comment. He says you have the fever, right? You've got a fever, and we need more of it.
I got softball fever.
You do, truly. We could see the energy, like.
I always have energy when I'm on the air, but with softball, it's a personal thing. It always was, and I got so just to be able to perform in front of people and be like a major leaguer and play night ball, when you were picking paper in the park there in the day, just to give you that, raking dogs, back in the day before I worked at the park before they used to pick up after dogs. That's how old I am. So just and every guy agrees. I'm sure most guys that play softball, they like their jobs, but there's nothing better than playing on a winning team or a good team with people watching, winning ball games, and then going to the bar afterwards. I knew I was done when I played at Mount Prospect, and I never drank before games, ever. I knew guys that did. I knew guys that did other things before games too back then.
Sure.
Especially in tournaments, Trevor, Wisconsin, stuff like that. Never did. About my second to last year, I'm at Mount Prospect, and I go, it looks like it's going to rain today. I'll go have a couple beers. I knew I was done. I knew my lips. I knew I was done. I never would have done that during my Hall of Fame years ever.
Yeah.
And also the last, softball players when they win can't wait to get back to the bar anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
The bar could have one stool in it with one jukebox and a cooler. Let's go, And I played against the Dwarfs. I mean, the Playboys back in the day. Just some great. We didn't mention Eddie Zona, who gave me the best piece of advice of all time, who managed the Bobcat teams. Good guy, and was one of our coaches with Licorice, and just a fun guy. I said to him, what are we going to do? We should add this guy or that guy. He goes, do what I used to do. If you add guys on, other guys will leave. They'll kick themselves off the team if they're threatened. So I took his advice. The only time I didn't do that and what got me involved, I don't know if you guys ever just played on the neighborhood team. Yeah. Well, guys I grew up with, 10, 12. It's hard when you got 12, 14 guys that you grew up with. Let's bring some outsiders in. That didn't work. So what I did is me and my buddy Johnny O'Malley, we played Tuesdays with them and Thursdays. And then the other days we found other teams to play with to play in tournaments. Because our guys were a lot of married guys and stuff. And they didn't play tournaments on Saturday and Sunday. And I wanted to play tournaments. I wanted to play tournament ball, whether it was at Portage Park, Trevor, Wisconsin, stuff like that. So, and Sunday leagues were always the best because we played early and we were so hungover from the night before, But I don't know if it's still the same. If the drinking's still the same, I think it's.
Yeah, I mean, we still have some fun out there. I mean, I think it all depends on the weekends and the and where we're at.
Now, you guys married or anything?
Yeah, I'm married with 3 kids.
Whoa! 3 kids. Whoa!
Yeah. Donnie's about to be married.
He tries to pawn his kids off on me once a week, by the way. Newly engaged as of December. So planning all that stuff out, and she sees how serious softball is. She understands. And like you said earlier, they got the commitment too. So that goes a long way. We appreciate it.
This happened. I'll never forget when me and my wife got engaged. I told her, and this happens to guys.
Yeah,
it does. It says, don't worry, honey, you can play softball. And then all of a sudden they get married, and you've heard the stories like all of a sudden, come on, you're playing 4 days a week, play 2 days. Next thing you know, you don't see him anymore.
Yeah.
I think the women that back the guys are unbelievable. That just let them, run wild. I mean, 3 days a week and every night we drink till 2 o'clock in the morning. The next day, get up for work at 6 o'clock, and I'm, on the lawnmower. We're picking paper, something.
Yep.
And I go, I don't know if you guys do this again. There's no way after the game tonight that I'm going out. No way. And then we play the game, and we're back out there that night. There's no way I'm going. And then that night, we're back out again, doing the same thing again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the drinking with your buddies was fun, too, and the intermingling with people. And what was great, too, there was this place called Champions. And what was great about Champions was this guy, Frank Pappas, would not only sponsor 4 or 5 guy teams, but then 4 or 5 girl teams.
Yeah,
so you got girls in there, you got guys in there, you got people yelling, people drinking. Just beautiful.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
all blessed. We're all blessed, guys. Remember that.
Sure.
I can't agree more. So,
Yeah.
Donnie, do you have any questions before I get into our terrific three? Because this is a segment that I
Yeah.
think Mr. Mike North's going to absolutely love.
I'm ready for anything. You guys send me questions like I'm a third grader. I was ready for everything.
I worked really hard on those couple of questions.
My God, you guys send me questions. Both guys. Now listen, here's the script. I don't go by script. I'll tell you something. Andy Thurman, this is great. Don't give me with the red face on the right. Andy Thurman says to me, I'll never forget him. I get the job at Fox. They go, listen, our morning show's in trouble, and we're going against Mike Greenberg. I go, Mike Greenberg. Me and him worked together at the Score. We started together. Well, you got 220 affiliates. So the first day I'm with Andy Thurman. It's going to be Monday. And we became really good friends. But the first day, I hear the machine go. He sends me a script. I call him up. Don't ever send me a script again. I was raised on the street corner. Whatever comes up, comes up. You better be ready to answer it. Otherwise, you ain't worth your weight in salt. That's just the way it is. So I wasn't worried about your questions. About 10 minutes in, I was going, you think we'll get on? You think we'll get on tonight? Remember that?
Yeah, we were nervous we were gonna bail on you.
I almost bailed. I almost gave you the finger. I almost bailed. No.
Yeah, you did. And if you would have hopped on last night like I wanted to, you would have figured it out. But that's all right.
All right.
So this part of the show, we started this a couple weeks ago, and really what it comes down to is kind of what you do with the Odd Couple and with Carmen DeFalco. You guys pick certain games that you bet through the week. So with March Madness being around, we started this last week. 2 weeks ago. I was 2-1 in the first week. We just picked 3 games from the weekend that we feel are going to be the absolute plays of the weekend per se until the next show. So I always have 3. I know I've asked you to bring 3. Donnie, I don't know. Donnie usually writes them down, and he's like our statistician. But
I've got 3.
He's also brought 3 as well. So
you know what I've been betting, guys? I've been betting golf matchups. You ever do that? One-on-one Bovada or prop swap? Like you bet, like they'll have a list of golfers, and they'll have like last week I bet Scheffler minus 140 against Schauffele. And they have different matchups. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because then you watch the whole damn match.
Right.
You know, otherwise you get up. If it's not a major, now I watch the whole damn match. But this week is what? NCAA March Madness, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So I've been known to throw out some winners.
Get out of here. You gamble? Are you a gambler?
I wouldn't call myself a huge gambler, but I gamble. All right.
Okay.
So
he's a huge gambler, Mike.
My first play, okay, and I'm going to share it with you, Mike, and I don't want to hear this on any of your podcasts, all right?
Okay.
We got over Nevada 136.5. Let me tell you why, okay? Dayton in this game is actually coming off a terrible shooting percentage game from the last game.
They stink. I don't think they're that good this year.
They stunk last game, okay? But 18 of their 30 games this year actually went over, all right? Also, they're playing a team in Nevada that consistently scores in the 70s, all right? So with the line at 136.5, I'm going over.
That's a good shot. That's a good shot. Okay. Now, who's next? My guy here, and then I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll give you one. This one might be, it's considered an upset in terms of numbers, but I think the teams are pretty even with the way that NC State has been playing over the last couple weeks. They battled in that tournament, and I think they beat Texas Tech. You can take them on the money line if you're feeling a little ballsy. You snag the money line in that game. I like NC State. I like NC State over Texas Tech in round 1, 11 over 6.
You're not worried. They played a lot of games.
Yeah.
They played a lot of.
I see what you're saying. Sometimes I think that plays to a team's advantage because they're kind of in stride and they've got
they're still rolling.
Yeah,
they're still. I saw a team. I sometimes don't even look at the point spread, but I saw a team about 3 weeks ago that could shoot the lights out, that can shoot free throws, and they're getting, I think, 13.5. Okay. Colgate. Okay. You got them for 13.5 there. I think I remember.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
They play
And
Baylor.
they're playing a really tough Baylor team, but I believe that they can stay within the number because the teams that you want to see hang in there at the end are teams that can make free throws. And they can make free throws. They could shoot the three, but Baylor's a juggernaut. But I just think 13.5 is a little rich.
I like it. Donnie,
Yeah.
write that one down.
Write it down, Donnie.
All right.
Type it up. Send it to us. Damn it.
No, I don't send any scripts, Mike. I won't send you anything else.
No, jeez.
My
Like
next
I thought I was back taking an exam for the police department.
Hey, Donnie, don't listen to this man. We're gonna send him questions, and he's gonna like it. All right. So our next play, or my next play per se, is Iowa State minus 16.5. They play a South Dakota State team. Okay. But Iowa State is an average of winning their last 3 games by more than 21 points. So when they win, they blow teams out usually. Okay. They're coming off a nice, obviously the Big 12 they just won. They're also this season they're 22-10 against the spread. Okay,
That's pretty good.
That's really good. So
Yeah.
I think they blow out South Dakota State. They're laying 16. I normally don't like to bet those big lines. Matter of fact, it's 16.
Yeah. I didn't like betting the 13.5 with, but you got to sometimes tuck. Baylor might blow them out by 50, but you got to, when you get those points, you think they could shoot. I don't mind taking 16 points in a game.
Yeah, so I'm taking minus 16.5. Iowa State is who I'm taking in that game.
Iowa State, man. I'll tell you, they'll break your heart in football. They break your heart in everything, those guys. All right, what's yours, my friend?
I've got the next one I've got is the Yale-Auburn game. Auburn is a very good defensive team, and that's kind of what the coach prides himself on.
How did they get a 4th seed? My God,
Yeah.
Auburn's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, they're all right. They're just kind of
really good.
They play solid D, and a Yale team that doesn't score a whole lot of points. I'm going to take the under in that game. It's 138.5. Auburn's a 12.5 point favorite. I'm going to snag the under in the Auburn and Yale game is my bet number 2.
You know what? Yale should have lost the round. I mean, they
Yale's not
lost.
very good.
I mean, my God, they were losing by 6 with 10 seconds. You lose a game like that, you go to the hardware store and just get the instructions for how to build a guillotine for yourself. My God, just put your head in the basket. Enough.
They break 2 free throws, Brown.
Oh my God!
With like 5 seconds left at the end, too.
I mean, that's a jump through your window game, man. I mean, it's unbelievable. All right, James Madison. Okay, I don't know what kind of president the guy was, but I mean, I'm hearing James Madison. James, how many points are they giving out? Are they getting points?
5.5 they're getting.
And who are they playing?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's going to beat them.
Oh, yeah.
Big Ten, Wisconsin's going to beat them. I like James Madison. They like to run. They're a tracks team. They can shoot. I watched North Texas tonight. They can shoot in the NIT. Some of these teams are unbelievable. But I'm just going to go with the Big Ten team here, which usually lets me down. But now I got Colgate and Wisconsin, teams that wear red and white. I might have to change that up.
That's fine. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that.
2 red and whites. Who am I going to go third? Look out.
I like Wisconsin. I that's not my third pick, but I like Wisconsin. I think the Big Ten it's a down year, but I think also they're a little underrated.
Yeah. Well, they lost some players. I mean, look, Juwan Howard gets fired. I like Juwan. I really do. And I know Juwan, and I've interviewed him. Really nice guy. But when his center left, I mean, my God. Yeah. And then injuries. Come on. You lose a stud like that, and he just goes to Kansas. Yeah. You just leave your guys. I don't know. I was raised different.
That's the new NIL rules. That's the way they are. Transfer portal.
I told Jay Billis. I told Stan Verrett. I go, you guys want these guys to get paid? It's not regulated. And then what happens? Now there's a big mess. You got one guy. You got Deion Sanders' kid driving a Rolls Royce, and he got his lineman getting gift certificates of Jersey Mike's. What's wrong with this thing?
Yeah.
Come on.
So my third game is actually a game that's kind of the last. I think it's one of the last games on Friday night. It's Utah State laying 4.5 against TCU. The reason why I like this game is because Utah State just got blown out by 15. They're on like a bounce back per se, but TCU plays absolutely no defense. Utah State can flat out light it up. So I can see Utah State not only covering the spread, but also winning heads up in that ball game. As I mentioned, it's TCU plays no defense. So Utah State, I could see absolutely firing at all cylinders. They score a lot of points, and I don't think TCU can keep up with Utah State on offensively. So I could see Utah State not only covering the 4.5, but also winning outright in that game.
I like that.
By the way, how does Auburn get a 4th seed and end up in the same damn conference or in the same damn region with UConn?
Yeah.
Holy Toledo, man.
Yeah.
That's brutal. The committee did a terrible job this year. They really did. But who do you got next, my friend?
My last one I've got is kind of a hyped up team right now. They've got the Japanese Steph Curry on their roster, who's getting a ton of social media.
They got,
presence
excuse me,
right
they
now.
got what?
They got the
Steph Curry?
Steph Curry. Yeah, that's what they're calling him. Nebraska Cornhuskers. Okay,
I know the guy. I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun to watch. They score a lot of points. They shoot a lot of threes. So if they're successful from deep, they stay in that game. They play Texas A&M, and I will say that A&M hangs in there offensively because I know Nebraska, like you mentioned, shoots free throws and 3-pointers pretty well. So I'm going to go with the over in the Nebraska Texas A&M game. Those are my 3 picks.
And then my last pick, I'm just picking UConn to win the whole thing.
Okay.
You and everybody else.
I would probably take UConn against the field right now. I think Houston, like we were talking about the other team, their climb, they had to grind. I just think Hurley's really good. Nothing against Kelvin Sampson, but I think it's very possible you could get a repeat with UConn this year and a repeat with the NBA with Denver. And that doesn't happen too often. Where
that's a good point.
Denver's really good. I was watching them earlier tonight. I bet the over in the Minnesota game. I don't know what the score is. It was over 211 or 212. Very low tonight. But I know that, the Joker's the best player in basketball. There's no doubt about it. And it's, I just think
keep an eye on Boston, though.
Tatum's been great, but aren't Tatum and Brown basically the same players? I mean, really, they're both guards, right?
Yeah, Tatum defends, I feel, a little better.
A little better, and he's the leader of the team more.
And Porzingis now, I think, he adds an element they've never had. So
yeah, I just think Denver, nobody knows about, Porter and some of these other guys that come off the bench, and Alex Gordon, what a role player he is. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It really is. And I could tell you and Bobby are buddies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys start filling out the sheets at about 10 in the morning. I know what you guys are on the phone. You guys are on the phone with each other.
No,
I know that.
I try to limit my talks with Bobby to about once a week.
Absolutely.
No,
but
Bobby's a great guy. We've always got along for many years. So
now, Chooch asked me if I want to play in the over 60 Elk Grove Monday. No thanks, Chooch.
No thanks, Chooch.
You said the over hit in the Nuggets game, by the way.
I'll take. Yeah. Did the over come in?
Yes, looks like we did.
All right.
It says 115 to 112 final score.
Yeah, baby. Oh, I love it. Did Denver win?
Check it out.
Because they played. I know this. I think the reason people took the under tonight is because Gobert didn't play. They were missing a couple players from Minnesota tonight. But that kid, Anthony, that Ant kid,
Edwards,
he's amazing.
Wow.
Anthony Edwards is ridiculous.
Dunk he put on last night was crazy.
They say his game is the closest to Jordan's
Yep.
of any
Really?
player in a long time. Yeah.
And he looks like him. People say it's Jordan's son.
Well, you know what?
It very well could be.
Who
But,
knows?
yeah,
How would you like to be a horse?
yeah.
Huh? You get laid 600 times a year and you walk away. See you later. Good luck to you, and may you make a living down the line. I mean, there's no responsibility anywhere.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And Secretariat couldn't perform. I mean, I hear about these guys.
I hear you, my man.
They
So-
go in and get laid about 10 times and then go run in the corral. What the hell?
So, Mike, the last question we
Yes.
ask all our guests, okay? And it's something that we ask every guest on the show. I know that you haven't been per se around softball too much in the last
Right.
15 years, but we ask every guest on our show, what if you were to change something in today's game, and whatever that comes to mind in your lovely head there, to improve softball today, what would it be?
Boy, that's a really good question. I would probably. I think safety wise, they've done everything they can.
Yeah.
I would probably, if I ran a park, I would charge cheaper fees and try to build leagues up instead of charging exorbitant fees. And because I know this for a fact, I worked for the parks for over 15 years. And I knew park district guys all over, instructors, guys at pro. Some of these guys, they overcharge. I'd make it more affordable. I try to get it now on TV.
We're going to do that, my man.
I'd keep it in the high school. I'd started at the grammar school level. They closed all the field houses. Even when I played at Pierce, like I told you, they had a gravel field. Well, they put another building there.
Yeah.
They knocked down the field houses. I mean, they took phys ed out of everything, and they want these kids to go to school. They can't, they have fourth grade educations. I wasn't good in school. I just wanted to play sports. And I thought school, what they taught me, even at I met the nun. The first time I saw a nun, I looked at my mom. I was 8. And I gave her the wide eyes going, this ain't going to work. I mean, she's 6'7" with the veil on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to see softball. I've been away from it, but I might get more involved in it. But the guys have done a tremendous job. They carry the torch. They really have. And I figure, I did it for a long time, and I devoted a lot of my life to it, and I ignored my wife sometimes and all this other stuff. So it's different. It really is for me now. When you're 71, you're just happy, you're happy to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't like this. These people dying in their sleep all of a sudden. Listen, Eric Carmen was a great from the Raspberry, dies in his sleep. The guy, Carl Weathers, died in his sleep. No, you don't want a heart attack in your sleep. You want the grabber. You want to crawl to the phone. You want
Hopefully you're not having one now.
Oh, he died the way he wanted. No, you want to fight to get to the ambulance. You want people just die in their sleep. That's it. Oh, he died. Oh,
yeah, we don't want that.
You want it. My dad sat in the chair for 20 minutes, is waiting for the ambulance. Held on.
Yeah.
And he held on. They have 2 more, but that's beside the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on.
I hear you.
We're losing this guy, Jimmy. We've lost.
I'm on record. I don't want to die in my sleep. I want to struggle to get to the phone. Screw it if you're gonna have a
Remember, you're on record on the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, all right? Sponsored
boy.
by that.
That's gonna be. I don't want to even be on. I don't want to be on the show for that. I do a great show called Somebody Big Just Died. I don't want to be on it. Forget about it.
I hear you.
I got some more jerseys here. Look at this.
Show us some more jerseys before we hand the mic over to you for questions to ask us.
Bill Melton, powder blue.
Oh, those are nice.
Powder blue.
Those are nice.
Hold on.
See, he did read the questions, Donnie.
See, he looked at the script, Jimmy. Don't let him lie to you.
We even had warm-up shirts, licorice warm-up shirts.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did. Now I got to ask you guys some questions. Okay.
Whatever comes to your mind, my man, before you go.
Don't ever send me
last
questions.
piece.
That's my question. Don't ever send me fucking questions again. Ever. I was haunted for 3 days by you two knuckleheads. I had enough. Okay. I get the phone. I go, who's that?
Smart knuckleheads. Remember that.
Oh, yeah. You guys, Mike, tell us what day you took a dump and then went to. Enough.
Hey, Donnie, and he still got a flip phone.
I can't believe you
Oh,
have
yeah.
that phone.
That's why I told you were trying to get me a hold of me on the flip phone. It ain't gonna work there.
Dude,
Oh,
Mike, we gotta get you a new phone, my man.
I was trying to talk you. Oh, Okay,
We
number
gotta get
two.
you one of these. They're called Apple phones.
Screw that shit. I don't go out.
You can go on that Twitter a lot easier.
Camera phones ruined this country. You can't do anything anymore.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
let's move on. Now, I'll ask you a couple more questions.
Sure.
If you keep eating the way you do, where do you think you'll be in 10 years on the softball field?
Which one?
You know who I'm talking to. Yeah. Because the same thing happened to Tubby. And I call him Tubby affectionately. You know who Tubby is? Bobby.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
who Tubby. Oh, tell it when you see him say hi, Tubby, he'll know. He'll know who told him. Okay? Hi, double chins. Hi, double chins. How's everything going? Yeah.
I've been
you've been working out. Okay, now are you trying to the golf thing? What happened? Were you on the golf team?
Yeah,
Donnie?
yeah. I played golf in college at Benedictine University.
Okay.
So we played D3, but it was a good time.
Okay.
Still play and kind of got me into
What
where
do you
I'm
shoot?
at.
What do you shoot? Because I shoot like 95, 96 now,
That's
but
good.
I play twice a week.
That's
I
good.
play twice a week, but I used to shoot 110, 112, but you play and I go to the range. But what do you shoot now?
I played at like a 1 handicap right now, so I'll keep it around par. But
Wow.
But if you need anything, I custom fit people for golf clubs. So if you're ever in the area, we get people from Huntley all the time. So if you want to drop some more shots, Mike, you come in and see me.
Where you at? Where you at?
PXG. I work for PXG.
I want to be the new voice of PXG. I want to be the new guy when that guy croaks.
He's not giving it up.
It's not special. Hey, I'm gonna kick your ass if you don't buy my PXG. Come on. I love that guy. He sounds like a bookmaker. Right?
Yeah, he does.
Where's my money? And by the way, nobody makes clubs like we do.
Bingo.
Nobody.
You nailed
my
it.
God, I love that guy. That's good. PXG's got good clubs. I'll come over. Where you located?
Yeah, we're in Oak Brook. We're in Oak Brook, right? Like, yeah, that's a good spot to be in. It's a good spot to be in.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, text me on that flip phone of yours if you can make out a couple text messages.
If you don't buy some PXG clubs, I'm gonna kick your damn ass. Love that guy.
Hey, Mike, you're gonna make my bar opening event here. You keep talking because you.
Where is it?
Laugh. It's gonna be in Shorewood. So
Shorewood.
45
Sounds
days.
good. Sounds good. I'll bring a couple handguns.
You know it. You know it. So
Shorewood. Where's that by?
52 and 55. It's actually where Donnie and I we're playing in the Dome tomorrow night. So I don't know if you're familiar.
Where in Rosemont? Where Rosemont?
Oh, in Shorewood. So
yeah, they have a dome in Shorewood. The Bears can't get a dome. You got a dome in Shorewood. Yeah. No
52,
kidding.
55.
And you're opening a bar by there?
Yep, I'm attaching it to it. Yeah. So Donnie and I, we play a series right now. It's his team versus our team. His team's up 2-1 in the series. So game 4 is tomorrow night. We should have you come live streaming on the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show.
I know. That's so nice. I don't want to see you guys for a couple days. Okay. No. I play Golden Tee every day. I got 20. I just do simple things, but you guys have been a blast. I had fun tonight, and it's great to talk to the softball community. Yep. And I'm very blessed, and it's great to see it. And we will see each other again.
Yes.
Let me call you. Enough with you guys. I've been hiding. Baby goes, why are you in the fetal position? I go, they called again. They called again.
Well, I don't know. So what happens is when you send a text and you have a flip phone, we don't know. We can't see if you actually read it or if it actually went through.
This
So,
phone,
hey,
this
Donnie,
phone.
now you know why he doesn't respond to
Do you
you.
want to know
I was
something?
like-
I respond. I say okay and all that BS that you
He
got.
responded to me.
Let me read. I've been doing this for 30 years. Listen what these guys tell me. Just some of this nonsense I got. The thing goes off.
It's awesome.
Well, I was nervous. I thought you were mad at me because you didn't respond to any of my text messages. But then I learned that you can't reply to any of my text messages.
Well, no, you're like, I don't do Facebook.
We know.
Mike, our Facebook page. Screw Facebook. You guys
Oh
are great.
man,
We
thanks,
had
Mike.
some fun. Hey, how you've done 39 shows? Come on.
Yeah.
This got to be a top 10er. Top 10.
This
We
is
almost didn't
39.
get on. We almost didn't get on, and then we end up boom.
Yeah,
Look at it.
39, my man. So
You tell Bobby I said hi. Tell all the boys I said hi. You guys
I will.
say hi to everybody at Shorewood. You know.
I'll let you know because I know
What's
you
the name of the bar gonna be?
The name of the bar is gonna be Papa Magoo's.
I love it. That's a good name, man. I was
Yep.
gonna say Tubby Twos, you know, because we know who
No.
Tubby. You're
We're
in
not
better
naming
shape
it
than
after
you
Bobby
are in
Russ.
better shape than Bobby.
We're not naming it after Bobby. I promise you that.
No. How old are Bobby's kids now? I knew them when they were 5. They're like in college or something now.
Yeah, Ryan Ross actually is the left fielder for Flash now. He plays on one of the major teams. The other
Is
son,
Bobby
Will,
still playing?
Bobby does not play. He coaches Flash. So
God damn. Did they win it last year?
Yeah,
they
did.
won Forest Park. They did not win major nationals.
Yeah, they won no gloves.
Flash has been around a long time too. We didn't give them any play tonight. Good for them. Guys, I love you.
I appreciate it.
We will
Thanks,
be in
Mike.
touch.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
right.
Get it. Let's get us on TV, my man. That's our
All
goal,
right, pal.
buddy.
You guys
Appreciate
take
it.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So, what'd you think of Mr. Mike North?
What a guy, huh? Holy cow! Like energy through the roof, brought it. I mean, Kevin Duff said this guy's got a fever. What an unbelievable episode of the cousin. I don't even know what our show's called. Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show. Unbelievable.
I just think that I mean I just saw the time right now and I can't believe it's 2 hours. But
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's been a Chicago icon on the radio for, as we said, for 30 plus years. So he was a lot more knowledgeable in softball than I ever thought he was going to be. So
I agree. You can kind of tell he's remembered a lot of things from playing and being out there, and you can tell he kind of still wants to be out here and hanging with us. And people are saying great show, top 10 episode. That was the top 5, top 2 episode of this show so far. It was fantastic. And really quickly, Jim, I want to thank everybody for kind of hanging in there and watching. And even though we couldn't get him in there right away, absolutely worth sticking through that and hanging out with him. And that was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy he reached out on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it. We talk all the time on there, so it's you know, I know he posts about every 4 minutes on Twitter, so he's very, very hands-on, and he really knows the sporting world to what he was saying. I just think it's tremendous, and it's awesome to see, you know, our game now becoming, you know, let's face it, we're gonna make it more popular, right? I mean, and that's been the goal from day one, and you know, not to say that we have tremendous support from a lot of people. So I think that's awesome too. And I think with the backing of the individuals we have and the more we get our game in the limelight, I mean, I think we can do what our real goal is. And that's to really make it, you know, let's get it back on TV, kind of what we talked about, and continue to grow this game. I think it's going to be awesome.
I agree. It's a huge contact to have, man. And it was a blast. I'm gassed from that. That was beyond anything I could have imagined, him coming on here. And you know, he gave us really good advice. I kind of asked him how we can kind of grow this show and grow the page. And it was pretty much saying you guys can reach out to people to put their brand on our show. And I want to do that. I want people to get the exposure from our show. And I think I think no one will have a problem with that. I don't think anyone will see an issue with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So, Donnie, I don't have anything else to say. I think every segment of our show tonight was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I know he didn't read it, but he did read it because of a lot of the questions we were going to ask.
Yeah. He read.
Which is hysterical, which I think is tremendous. And yeah, I mean, let's like I said, let's keep promoting, keep going, and we have a great guest idea for next week. We hope it works out. If it does, it'll be awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay, and we'll figure that out by the end of the week. And who our next guest will, get it out there for you guys. But tomorrow night, guys, just so you know, we're going to be going live for the draw of our NCAA tournament. We're going to have those numbers drawn. So Donnie and I will be together tomorrow night. We probably will go live, I don't know, probably somewhere around 9 o'clock, a little before 9 o'clock to pick those numbers. And we'll get that out to everyone that's in that pool. So that obviously starts Thursday morning. And we'll get those out. And that way everyone's be satisfied. And I won't get any more text about where's our numbers. So
yeah.
on your thing, Donnie, you sold what, 5? So maybe you only got 5.
10, 12 squares, 20 squares. Who knows how many we sold? That's beyond the point, Jim. Thanks for everything, man. I will talk to you tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
Later, guys. We'll talk to you.